Hi, good morning, Professor Arya.
We are live, sir.
You're live. Okay, thank you. Hi, good morning, Professor Arya. How are you?
Good. How are you?
All well, sir.
Well, great. Good to see everyone here.
Yeah. So I'll just introduce you and then you can go ahead.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, good morning, students. Welcome back to the final day. This is what we have been waiting for since Monday. I hope you had nice 5 days of learning. A lot of your messages keep coming in, keep them coming in. We like reading those, and we are very happy that you found that useful. I'm very, very happy that we have today with us our Dean for Admissions and Outreach, who is a fantastic speaker who has wealth of experience in different areas, Professor Arya B. Majumdar, and he will be speaking to you about skills that are required for 21st century. As you are aware, and as you understood from the last 5 days, there are different careers that you can get into, right, in the field of social sciences, arts, and humanities. And I'm sure many of you would be looking for careers outside of social science, arts, and humanities. So, what is it that you should be thinking about? What is it that you should be preparing for? And he does this fantastic workshop called Skills for 21st Century. I'm very happy that he took out time on a Saturday for us, early morning at 10 o'clock. So make the most of it and ensure that you get prepared for the 21st century jobs that are lying ahead for you. Over to you, Professor Arya.
All right. Thank you so much, Ankur. And can I just say what a pleasure it is to be here. I know I was there at the inaugural session, and it's just really nice to be in the last day of the JGU Summer Engagement Week. To all of our participants, all of our attendees, all of our audience, thank you so very much for being here. I hope it's been a good week for you all. I hope you've learned something over the last few days, and we're going to wrap this up today with this webinar, this workshop that Ankur has very kindly and very nicely introduced, which is skill sets and careers of the 21st century, right? Now, before I begin, I just hope that everybody is at home, everybody's safe, and I just want to take a moment to just acknowledge the fact that even now, even as the second wave dies down, there are still lakhs of people getting infected every day. There are still thousands of people getting affected every day. And of course, over the last few weeks, months, so many people have been affected in some way or the other. Just want to take a moment to acknowledge that. Right. Now, what's happened over the last 14 months is that we've sort of adapted to a new kind of working, to a new kind of learning, to a new kind of teaching, right? And I know it might have been really difficult for you to adjust at first, but I know for a fact that you're getting used to online classes, you're getting used to these kind of workshops that take place not in front of you, but on your screen, right? Now, this is not something that is unique to us as learners or students and teachers. This is happening all over the world. You know, Twitter and Facebook have told their employees to go home and stay at home indefinitely, right? And that you can work from home. And that works very well for information technology companies. But as a result, what's happening is many other companies are realizing what kind of jobs can be done from the workplace that need an office environment and what kind of jobs need to be done from home, right? As a result, many jobs are being cut, many jobs are being redefined, and some careers may vanish entirely in the next few years. Now, this is not something that's new, right? You know, people think that, oh, because of the pandemic, many career options will no longer be there. There's an advent of artificial intelligence and natural language processing, etc. But this has been the case ever since the dawn of humanity. If there is one thing that is constant, it is change. Change is the only constant in our lives. Think about it. Many thousands and thousands of years ago, when early man discovered that if you place a rock, a particular kind of rock, near a fire, it would melt. Now, they didn't know that it was melting, and they didn't have a word for it. They made up a word. Well, all words are made up, right? But then they realized that as soon as that molten goo had solidified, had cooled down and solidified, it was stronger than stone. Thus began the Iron Age. What about the career aspirations of stone merchants or stone cutters? Well, what happened to them? They probably gained new skills to become, well, iron merchants or iron workers, right? And thus the dawn of the Iron Age began. And this has been the case for millennia. This has been the case for thousands and thousands of years. So even today, in the 21st century, in the 21st year of the 21st century, we know that businesses will continuously be reshaped, whether it's a post-coronavirus world or not. So the question really is, if careers are going to be reshaped from time to time, we have an uncertain future. So my dear Generation C, and C stands for connected, which is what you guys are, right? How do you prepare yourselves? So today, we'll be talking about some of the key skills that may be useful for careers of the future. Now, I'd just like to see a show of hands, or perhaps just put in a yes in the chat box if you have heard, hold on. If you have heard of this Swedish gentleman by the name of Felix Kjellberg. If you've heard of him, put in a yes in the chat box. If you haven't heard of him, put in a no in the chat box. And somebody comes up with his YouTube name because, you guessed it right, his YouTube name is, come on, give me his YouTube name. Absolutely, PewDiePie. Thank you so much, all of you guys. All right, but hang on a minute. Do we know who PewDiePie is? We know that he's a YouTube gamer, right? And I've seen some of his videos. Personally, it could be better. But people view his videos, right? But must first watch an advertisement or two, right? Now, when you're watching an advertisement on YouTube, you contribute to his revenue, right? So companies will pay PewDiePie to feature their advertisements on his videos. Now, can you guess how much he makes? He makes about $1.5 million a month, right? He makes about $1.5 million a month. Let that sink in. $1.5 million just from putting up videos on YouTube, right? There are so many other influencers like him. In India, from the top of my head, I can think of, let's say, Bhuvan Bam. Bhuvan Bam is there on YouTube. There's so many others, I'm sure. I'm sure you guys know so many more influencers, right? Tanmay Bhatt, thank you, Ishita, right? There are a few influencers that I follow on Instagram who are, I don't know if you've heard of these guys. Oh, yes, Kari Minati is very good. I'm sure you've heard of Aranya Johar, Vishnu Kaushal, Sakshi Shivdasani. These are some of the influencers that I follow, right? Now, do you know how they earn their living? When they are asked to promote a product on YouTube or on Instagram or on whatever other platform that they have, right? They get a lot of money. I know for a fact that Vishnu Kaushal charges about 5 lakh rupees for each paid promotion, right? Bhuvan Bam earns about 3 to 4 lakh rupees a month from each of his BBT Vines video, right? Now, it doesn't stop at YouTube or Snapchat or Instagram, or now, next level is, of course, Clubhouse and Discord, right? But it can be something as simple as a blog as well. I don't know if you've heard of this fashion blogger, an Italian fashion blogger by the name of Chiara Ferragni, right? Now, she runs a blog called The Blonde Salad. And recently, about a couple of years ago, the Forbes Business Magazine ranked that blog as one of the top fashion influencers. Now, fashion, of course, is a multi-billion-dollar industry across the world. So she takes home about $8 million every year from her blog, and recently even set up her own shoe business. But you might be wondering, this is a webinar on careers. Why are we talking about, YouTubers and bloggers and social media influencers? See, the thing is, 10 years ago, as far as recently as 10 years ago, the idea of a career gamer or a YouTuber did not exist. Everybody thought at that point in time, oh, this is just a pastime. In fact, even now, your parents and teachers, myself included, consider gaming to be a pastime. Now, I play Call of Duty myself, right? I played, maybe half an hour a day, maybe 15 minutes a day, maybe one match a day, right? But that's not my career, right? It's a distraction from my core activity, which is, well, teaching, right? So in the same way, your parents and your teachers will consider social media or gaming a distraction from your core activity, which, let's face it, fortunately or unfortunately happens to be studies. So what I'm trying to say is that these examples of PewDiePie and Bhuvan Bam and Vishnu Kaushal, they're not to encourage you to become YouTubers or social media influencers. Think about it. For every one Bhuvan Bam, there are thousands, perhaps millions of people who have tried and failed, right? I would put Dhinchak Pooja in that category. I'm not so sure if you've heard of Dhinchak Pooja. She's one of my favorite YouTube stars, just because she's funny, right? But the reason I'm bringing this out, the reason I'm bringing this up is that these are just examples of an ever-changing world of what could be a career and what careers will eventually die out, right? Now, many surveys have shown that the world is changing so fast that the majority of the jobs that will exist in 2030, 9 years from now, right, when you guys will be joining the workforce, the majority of the jobs that will exist in 2030, they haven't been invented yet. Through the pandemic, we realized we had a huge dependency on data, which meant that all of a sudden, data analysis and data scientists became high demand. Is this going to continue in the future? Perhaps, I don't know. But what this means is, and we're just coming back and circling back to our original point, that there is a high degree of uncertainty. So how do you prepare yourself? So today, if you decide I'm going to be X, this is what my career is going to be. 5 years down the line, you might realize that, no, I don't want to do this. I'm not interested in it anymore. Or that there is not much demand for this career. And it's going to be very difficult for me to break into this career. So what happens? You change your career trajectory. You change your career path. And that happens more often than you think. Let's take an example. Again, I'd like to take a quick round of observance, let's say. Let's just put it that way. Have you guys seen this movie called 3 Idiots? If you have, then say yes on the chat. Awesome, wonderful. A lot of people have said yes. Great. Now, 3 Idiots is in my opinion, one of the finest movies to come out in the last 10, 15 years, right? Amir Khan does amazing work, right? Exactly. Thank you, Vasu, who hasn't seen 3 Idiots. It's great. I agree, right? And ever since then, everybody has wanted to go to Ladakh and visit Pangong So. That's the lake which had the last scene, right? Now, 3 Idiots is largely based on a book by Chetan Bhagat. It's called 5 Point Someone. I would recommend, if you haven't read it, I would recommend you to read it. It's really nice. But there's a scene in 3 Idiots that where the character played by Amir Khan, right? Funsuk Wangdu or Ranchhod Das Chachar, whatever you want to call him, right? He says that most engineering students don't end up being engineers at all, right? What do? They finish their engineering degree. They appear for the CAT or the Common Admission Test. And as Manan rightly points out, get into a prestigious Indian Institute of Management and become an investment banker, right? Now, he asks a very valid question. If you ended up becoming a banker, why did you have to study engineering? I mean, what's the connection, right? The only connection that I can see is both engineering and banking. They require a high quantitative aptitude, meaning which you need to have mad skills in maths, right? Now, let's take a few examples that sort of drive home this point. I mean, I'm guessing everybody's heard of Apple, right? Who hasn't, right? So the founder of Apple, Steve Jobs, right? Um, did you know that Steve Jobs does not have a technology degree? He does not have a BTech, does not have a BSc. He does not have any degree, any formal education in computers. And yet, Apple leads the world in personal computing. I am coming to you live on a webinar through a Mac. I use an iPhone, right? I'm sure many of you do as well, right? And I love the reaction that Aneri Duggar has given us, going, oh, I didn't know that. Did you know that Steve Jobs originally had enrolled in a liberal arts course? Where? In Reed College. Don't believe me? Look it up. Do your own fact checking, right? Now, he eventually dropped out, right? But he went on to establish one of the world's most recognized brand names, one of the most foremost leaders in personal computing, right? Now, why did he switch over to computers? Because he saw an opportunity there, right? Because he thought he wanted to innovate. Because he took up a calligraphy class in Reed College where he was enrolled, right? Let's take a few more examples. Everybody's heard of Alibaba, and everybody knows, I'm guessing, that the founder of Alibaba is Jack Ma. Excellent, thank you. Awesome. Now, Alibaba is what? An e-commerce company. It's the largest e-commerce company in China. And in my opinion, and you might differ from me, the only possible competitor to Amazon, right? Now, in India, of course, we have Flipkart and JioMart, which is backed by, by Reliance, and they are putting up a huge competition against Amazon in India, maybe Myntra as well, great, right? But internationally, the only competitor that I see against Amazon is Alibaba. Now, because Alibaba is an e-commerce platform, I'm guessing Jack Ma has a BCom degree, commerce, com for commerce. And because it's E, I'm guessing Jack Ma, if he doesn't have a BCom degree, he has at least a technology degree, like a Bachelor of Computer Science. Guess what? Jack Ma has a BA, not tech, not com, not SC, A in English. Thank you, Vinesh. Right? BA in English, running China's biggest e-commerce platform. Right? In fact, he applied, and as somebody pointed out, he applied to Harvard Business School 10 times for their MBA. Each time he got rejected. And now Harvard is inviting him as a guest lecturer. See how things have changed, right? Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the absolute closest we're going to come to a real life Tony Stark. I love Elon Musk. He's quirky, he's mad, he's funny, right? And he does weird shit, right? And I love him for that, right? But he also has had the vision to make technology that will drive the world for the next 50 to 100 years. I'm talking about Tesla, right? So Elon Musk established Tesla. He established SpaceX. He established the Boring Company, which is digging an underground tunnel from Los Angeles to San Francisco. And there's so many other things that Tesla is up to. I don't even want to get there, right? Right? Now, would it interest you to know that Elon Musk also does not have a technology degree, right? As far as my knowledge goes, he has a BA in political science. Go look it up. Tell me if I'm wrong. Okay. All right. Closer to home. And now let's bring the journey back home, right? What are my qualifications? Right? What are my qualifications? My qualifications are, I have a BSc LLB, Bachelor of Science LLB, because well, there was some science involved, and an LLM. What that means is I'm a qualified lawyer. I've practiced law in New York on Wall Street, in England, in London, and finally in Delhi. I left my corporate. So about 8 years ago, I was a corporate lawyer, right? If you've seen this, the series Suits, I'm sure you've heard of it at least, right? About 8 years ago, so I would play the role of Harvey Specter. Let's just put it that way, okay? So 8 years ago, I took off the suit and I put on this bandgala, this Nehru jacket, and I started teaching. What is my job now? My job is to look after the admissions and outreach for OP Jindal Global University. Does that job require me to be a lawyer at all? Does that job require me to say, "My lord"? No. My job requires me to have people skills, to have communication skills, to have managerial skills. So when there is a problem that needs to be solved, I need to solve that problem. I need problem solving skills, not legal skills. There are so many more examples like this. Anybody heard of the Big Bang Theory? Anybody? Yes, no? Yes, a lot of people have heard of the Big Bang Theory. Amazing, right? Okay, one of my favorite female role models in that is an actress on that show, Miyam Bialik, Amy Fowler, right? We know her as Amy Fowler, Sheldon's girlfriend. Amy Farrah Fowler. My mistake, Devanshi. Thank you. All right. So Amy Farrah Fowler, played by Miyam Bialik. Did you know that Miyam Bialik actually has a PhD in neuroscience? Think about that. She's Dr. Miyam Bialik. She has a PhD in neuroscience from the University of California, where I was a visiting scholar at some point of time, right? Guess what? She let go of her career in PhD in neuroscience. And what did she play? She played the role of a neuroscientist on that show, right? I don't know if you've heard of this lady called Pragya Bhatt, right? Now, Pragya Bhatt is a lady who was trained as a software engineer, right? She worked in the IT industry for more than 8 years. And then she switched paths and is now a full-time yoga instructor. We've heard of Kenny Sebastian? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay. All right. A lot of people are saying yes to Kenny Sebastian. I love him. I really like him. He's a great comedian, right? And we know that he's a stand-up comedian. Did you know that Kenny Sebastian has a degree in visual arts? But we don't know him as a graphic designer, right? So if you don't know who he is, sometime after this week is over, go and look up all these people. All these people that I've told you about, they have fantastic backstories. They're fantastic people. But Kenny Sebastian has a bachelor's degree in visual arts. Do we know him as a graphic designer? No. We know him as a world-class stand-up comedian, right? So what am I trying to tell you here? What am I trying to tell you? The point is that more often than not, when you are getting out of school or when you're about to finish school, you want to be something. You have some career in mind, right? But as Netra Venkatesh points out, your college degree is not your future. Your college degree is not your career, may not be your career. The other day, I was on a panel with Amish Tripathi. I'm quite certain you know who Amish Tripathi is. Amish Tripathi is a well-known fiction writer. He writes on the cusp of Hindu mythology and fiction, right? Some people think his books are real. They're fiction. Please believe me, they are fiction, right? Just like some people think Patanjali is Prasad, right? I don't think it is. It is a company that makes, fairly good products, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, it is a company that produces medicinal cosmetics. Let's just put it that way, right? Amish Tripathi tells me that he was originally an investment banker. He went to St. Stephen's. Then he went to IIM, right? And now he realized that his actual passion was writing. And he's made a huge name for himself, right? So, to bring all of this together, what am I trying to tell you? Your school education should provide you with a wide enough grounding in a variety of subjects. Your college education should provide you with a bit of specialization. But here is the key point I'm trying to make in this workshop. That specialization that you gain in college does not have to define who you are. It does not have to define what your career goal or what your eventual career is. So you might start out being an engineer, go into investment banking. You might start out being an economist, get into, I don't know, stand-up comedy, right? You might start off with a law degree and end up advising students like you on future careers, right? So so then the question is that, so professor, if I don't know where my career path is going to take me, how am I going to be successful? Because if I'm preparing for medical and eventually I end up being, something else, right? Then how will I be successful in that something else? Here is my theory. It's a theory, and I think it works. If we start developing skills which are transferable across sectors, which are universal in nature, we might be able to make it. So that takes away the whole uncertainty. That if tomorrow the career path I've chosen does not exist, I can always switch and I'll still be successful. Why? Because I have invested in universal career skills, and that's what this webinar is all about. Now, whether you want to be an actor, a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, an accountant, a chartered accountant, yeah, a commercial pilot, right? You want to be a teacher, architect, whatever, right? There are some skills that might be useful no matter what you want to be, right? Now, different people have different ideas on what these skills should be. So today, what I want to share with you is my core list of 7 skills that I personally believe are invaluable for the future. So what we'll do is we'll go over each of these skills one by one, right? My recommendation, of course, I will repeat the skills at the end of this piece, but my recommendation is that you note them down somewhere. Maybe it'll help you later on, right? All right. So the first skill is intellectual curiosity. Now, a lot of people ask me, this is a new term that's doing the rounds. It seems to be fashionable and cool to say intellectual curiosity. But what is it? So intellectual curiosity is an urge to learn new things continuously, right? An inner desire to constantly learn. Now, what happens is you're constantly learning, you're constantly gathering information around you, and you're constantly gathering general knowledge around the world, right? But more importantly, having an intellectual curiosity is, it develops the skills to ask questions such as, what is it that I am looking at? And why does it behave in the way that it does? Now, let's take an example. Every morning, right? All of us, doesn't matter where you are, all of us, we see a bright orange ball rise in the sky. That orange ball quickly turns yellow. It traces itself across the sky and turns orange, turns red, and then dips below the horizon. Can anyone tell me what I'm talking about? The sun. Something as simple as the sun. Wonderful, right? Now, what is the sun? Well, it depends upon who you ask, right? Centuries ago, your ancestors, my ancestors, we thought that the sun was a god. Well, depends upon which religion you identify with or your ancestors identified with. We thought that the sun was a god, right? And the sun rode a chariot, right? That was pulled by 7 horses, right? Now, of course, now we know, yes, with the 7 horses. And now we know that the sun does not have a chariot. There is no celestial chariot. There are no celestial horses, right? We now know that the sun is a gigantic flaming ball of gas, right? But somebody would have asked the question, what is the sun really? And how does it work? And somebody discovered that it's a gigantic flaming hot ball of gas, which is comprised of helium and hydrogen, right? My high school geography skills or knowledge is still there, right? And this lies at the very heart of intellectual curiosity. What is it that I'm looking at and how does it work? Why does it behave in the way that it does? Now, you might think that having an intellectual curiosity will lead to developments and answers in science and technology. Nothing could be further from the truth. Let's take another example. Till about a century ago, there existed this practice, this despicable, terrible, terrible practice called sati, S-A-T-I. I'm hoping that your history teachers would have taught you about sati, right? Now, sati was this terrible societal practice where a married woman, who has just lost her husband, is forced, mind you, forced, not of her own will and volition, coerced into jumping into her husband's funeral pyre. What does that mean? What does that mean for women? What does that mean for the standard of women? It means that a woman's existence is only linked to her husband. It means that you have no existence beyond your husband, which, in my opinion, and you might differ, and you have every right to differ from me. In my opinion, that does not do very well for women's rights. That does not do very well for gender equality, right? So, along comes this band of social activists led by Alexander Hume and Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and they take a look at this practice and they ask, what is it that I'm looking at? And why does society treat women this way? Remember, what is it that I'm looking at? What is it that I'm observing? And how does it work? Those are the key indicators, the key questions we're asking through intellectual curiosity, right? What is it? What is this practice that I'm looking at? And why does society behave this way? Now, what did they do? They petitioned the then British government. This is early 20th century. This is the 1900s, right? And they got sati abolished, which in my view was great, right? Sati has almost died out. Well, in almost all parts of India, I'm sure there are cases still happening even now, just like female infanticide and child marriage, right? So intellectual curiosity doesn't just lead to huge developments in technology and science, but also society, politics, and economics, philosophy, anthropology. It has led into developments in every walk of life. Now, somebody mentioned critical thinking on the chat. Critical thinking and intellectual curiosity are two different things, right? Critical thinking is what you do as a progression from having an intellectual curiosity, right? While intellectual curiosity asks you to observe the things around you and start questioning why things the way they are, critical thinking uses that intellectual curiosity in decision making. Let's apply critical thinking now. What is critical thinking? Critical thinking is a mechanism of coming to a decision. At the very core of this decision, at the very core of this critical thinking, this idea of critical thinking is a very simple idea, right? The idea is assume nothing, right? Assume nothing. Once you start at this position of assuming nothing, you then start collecting data. You start collecting information without a bias, without a prejudice, right? Based on that decision, based on that information, you then take a decision. When you do take a decision, critical thinking demands that you take into account multiple perspectives, including that the perspectives of people who will be affected by your decision. Ashish points out on the panel to the panelists that assuming nothing is exhausting. I agree, it is, right? Okay, let's take an example. And this example might be disturbing to some. A little over a year ago, sometime in late March, our Prime Minister came on air and said that we are putting the we're putting the country under a nationwide lockdown. Nobody's to leave their house, everybody stay at home for the next 3 weeks. He did so at 8 p.m. and said that the nation will be under lockdown from 12 midnight. I remember that very moment. I hope you remember it too. I remember my first thought was, will I be able to provide for my family? Will I be able to provide food, medicine, security for my family? And thankfully, thanks to our local community here in Sonipat, thanks to the government of India, the government of Haryana, and friends and family around us, we managed, right? But we were fortunate. And I just like to take a moment, and I know I'm going to digress here a little bit, but I think it's important. Because I'm sitting in a room that is quiet. I have the fan on, I have the air conditioning on, which means that I don't have to sweat when I'm wearing my Nehru jacket, right? And you can see my face on your screen. You can hear my voice over the speakers that you have. That means that you have a screen. It means that you too, like me, have electricity. It means that you too, like me, have a stable internet connection. And we are, as Sneha points out on the chat, we are privileged. Millions of others are not so privileged. I watched myself with my own eyes. I watched in horror as I saw hundreds of thousands of migrant laborers walking from Delhi on the National Highway 44. The National Highway 44 connects Delhi to Chandigarh. It is one of the arterial roads of North India. I'm sure you know of this. It's called the Grand Trunk Road, right? And where I live is about 4 kilometers away from the Grand Trunk Road. I live on the outskirts of Sonipat, which is incidentally, where our university is. So we watched in absolute horror as millions of hundreds of thousands of migrant laborers did their exodus from Delhi. Why were they leaving? We know the reasons. Lockdown means no business is open. No business is open means daily wage earners do not get a daily wage. So no money. No money means I don't have a means to survive. What that means is I have to go back home. How do I go back home? Public transport systems aren't available anymore. Indian Railways is shut. I will walk home. We set up a camp. We distributed food, water, medicines. We did what we could. We exhausted our resources. And for every 100 people that you would help, there would be another 1,000 that needed help. And we knew that these people were walking in the April heat, I guess. It's not that hot in April, but still there. People were walking not just to their villages in Haryana or Punjab or Uttarakhand, which is our closest. These are the three closest neighbors to us. Some people were walking as far as Himachal Pradesh. We met a family that was walking to Ladakh. Imagine that, walking from Delhi to Ladakh because you don't have money. Why are we talking about migrant laborers in a careers webinar? Here is the point I'm trying to make. Here's the question on critical thinking. We said that take into account the perspectives, the opinions and the viewpoints of the people who will be affected by your decision. Here is my question. Did the government of India take into account the perspectives, opinions and viewpoints of migrant laborers when they took that decision to put the nation under an enforced lockdown with 4 hours notice? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I cannot, I do not have an insight into the inner workings of the Indian government. I'm at the end of the day a poor college professor, right? But this is just one example of how critical thinking should affect your decision making. This is just one example of how critical thinking could have possibly saved lives, right? So critical thinking is one of the core 7 skills that I would like you to start developing. The third skill is that of interpersonal skills. Eventually, we'll have systems in place where computers will regularly talk to each other. We already have a glimpse of this in the idea of Internet of Things. We know what Internet of Things are, right? Has anyone heard of Internet of Things? Yes, no? Chat box? Awesome. We know what Internet of Things are. So basically, for those of you who don't know, Internet of Things, and let's say this is a thing. Let me just grab this. This is I'm in my little desk where this is my little Bluetooth speaker. This is my phone. And I can program my phone to start playing music on my Bluetooth speaker through an automated whatever, right? I can program my lights to switch on and off depending upon the time of day if you have a smart light, right? They're all connected through the internet, and therefore that's the Internet of Things. How does this have a practical application? If you have an internet connected smart fridge, mind you, it can sense how many eggs you have. And the moment you come down to 2 eggs, if you are an egg eater, of course, come down to 2 eggs, it will automatically order for eggs from grofers and big basket the moment it senses that you're low on eggs. So that's a communication between devices. But social interactions are really difficult to automate. And it is likely that we will have to continue talking to each other. I don't know if you guys have heard of Pink Floyd. It's one of my favorite rock bands. There is this song by Pink Floyd, which involves Stephen Hawking, the voice of Stephen Hawking. And Stephen Hawking says, and this is a song called Keep Talking, right? And Stephen Hawking says, mankind has done so many wonders and so many advances in technology, but the most important thing is that you'll have to keep talking. By the way, if you see a head or an arm coming through here, that's my 5-year-old son. He might just come into the webinar. He won't disturb much, don't worry, right? But that's the reality of working from home, right? All right. So keep talking to each other. Yes, Prashasna says, listen to Arctic Monkeys too. Yes, I do listen to Arctic Monkeys as well. And Dua Lipa, right? I have a broad interest in music. All right. So the key to great interpersonal skills is communication. And a lot of people ask me, Professor, how do we build our communication skills? The first step to building your communication or interpersonal skills is listening to each other, right? Now, what do I mean by listening? There's a difference between hearing and listening. So I'm quite certain that out of the 17 now, participants that are on this workshop right now, I'm assuming at least 500 people have kept me on mute or in a different room and I'm talking, it's there in the background. But nobody is very few people are actually listening. Listening is an active engagement, right? What do I mean by that? Let's say, I'll give you an example and I'm getting a lot of chat messages saying we are listening and understanding, right? Great. Okay. I'll give you an example from my past life, right? My past life as a corporate lawyer, as Harvey Specter. Now, let's say I'm negotiating a very complex business deal, right? A very complex business transaction. On the other side of the boardroom is another lawyer, right? And this lawyer says, I want to put in this clause into our agreement, right? Now, I'm not going to say yes or no to him immediately, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself, why does he want this? What possible gain can he get out of this? Why does he See, you saw his hand. He's right here. Do you wanna come in? No? Okay. All right. All right. So coming back to this, Babu, you're distracting. Okay, don't do that. I've lost my chain of thought. Okay. So when we are listening to what this other person has to say, I'm trying to figure out, why does he want this? How will he benefit from this? What possible ulterior motive could he have? I figure that out. I twist what he wants into something to my advantage, and I put that into the into the agreement. He thinks he's won. I know that I have won. Now let's apply that technique, that Harvey Specter technique, right, to our everyday lives. So far, it's 10:45. It's been 45 minutes that you've been on a screen. At some point of time in the afternoon, you might want to catch up on Loki or whatever favorite Netflix or Hotstar series that you have. I haven't started Loki. I know I will start on it, I promise, right? I need to finish Falcon and Winter Soldier as well. Okay. So now, let's say in the afternoon, you're playing a video game, or you're watching your favorite Netflix or Hotstar series, and your parent comes in and says, you spent a lot of time on your screen in the morning. Put away your screen now. That's not important, right? I don't know if that happens to you. It happens to my 5-year-old quite a bit, right? Now, I'm so glad you guys are putting in your comments on chat saying that, yes, it does, right? Not somebody says not a lot. Some people are relating, some people are not. There is no one size fits all. But here's what you could do. Think about why your parents are saying what they are saying. Think about why they're asking you to put away your screen, right? You know that you need a bit of release. And that's what gaming does. It temporarily puts your real problems on hold and takes you to a different sort of mindset, a different location. Personally, I love role-playing games, so I feel like the character, right? And that helps me sort of unwind from a long day, right? So a lot of people think that, a lot of adults like us, we think that gaming is bad for you because it creates an alternative reality, which we end up believing in. It is entirely possible that online we can get into the wrong kind of company. It is entirely possible that we get into trouble with the wrong kind of company. And I don't have to tell you how easy it is to get into the wrong kind of company online. I mean, you just have to do a Google on the blue whale challenge. Don't, right? It's terrible, right? So perhaps now what you could do is you could start thinking about why your parents are saying whatever they are saying. Put yourself in their shoes, just like I put myself in my opposing counsel's shoes. Why is he saying this? Okay, is there something I could say to reduce the fear that my parent has? Now you are listening. You're putting yourself in their shoes. You're thinking like they do. Now you have begun to listen. And that is the first step towards great communication. And now, once you've started listening, you're in a better position to negotiate and influence others. So that was the third skill. The fourth skill, and we'll move a little quickly now. The fourth skill is versatility. Being versatile. Now, I've mentioned this before, we are bound to see changing trends in the market from here on end, especially after this global pandemic. So what do we need to survive, right? To keep pace with the changes? Agility, versatility, right? Now, what do we mean by that? This is a certain determination to ride the wave and use the crisis to turn it into an opportunity. I'll give you an example from our own lives. Sometime in late February, early March last year, the university, the OP Jindal Global University, much like most other universities and schools across the world and India, we went online. All of us, right? We told our students, you have 48 hours, please pack your bags, go. We told faculty members, we are upgrading your internet bandwidth, go home and teach. Great. Immediately, we ran into a problem. So as teachers, and think about your favorite teacher, they would use the classroom as their own space. They would walk around, they would walk down the aisle, they would weave in between tables, right? They would use the entire space of the classroom, and they would use gestures. I don't know why I'm doing a Shah Rukh Khan wala gesture, but whatever, right? But when we are teaching online, I can't move. I can't stand up. I'm stuck in this chair. I am restricted to this little box here. We realize, even my son is laughing, we realized very quickly that we did not know how to teach online. We didn't know. All we did was give the same lecture we would do to a webcam and expect the same amount of student engagement. It would not happen. And as somebody points out, Vanshika points out, we would look into the notebooks of the students. Yes, absolutely. Because you see, when we're teaching, we're not just using the classroom. I'm looking into your eyes. I'm looking for gestures, non-verbal cues to see whether you're understanding. Right now, I have no clue because I can't see you. I wish I could though. But we could not see the smiles on our students' faces. We couldn't see that furrowed brow on our students' forehead saying that I really did not understand what you said, right? Or somebody who's playing with a pen, distracted. I can't see that, right? So there's no way of a two-way communication between my student and me, right? The only thing is, thank you. Of course, you guys are being great on the chat. You're really engaging, and I may not respond to each of your comments, but as and when I can, I will, right? So what did we do? We realized that we were failing miserably. We did not know how to engage a classroom online last year. So what did we do? Each of our teachers, each of our faculty members, all, I don't know how many we have right now, about 800 of us, all of us did a course on how to teach online from Coursera, right? Now, why did we do that? Because we wanted to learn, we wanted to change a crisis, which is, what is the crisis? We don't know how to teach online, right? What is the opportunity? We've never learned how to, right? And it's not just me. I'm like in my late 30s. There are, of course, younger teachers. I mean, there are teachers in our university who are like 25, 26. You need to get a master's degree to teach here, right? At least. But there are people as old as, let's say, Professor Upendra Bakshi. Professor Upendra Bakshi is 80 plus. He was the vice chancellor of Delhi University. He now teaches here, but he's 80 plus, right? Even he took up a course, right? Even he took up a course on how to teach online. But this is an example of being versatile. Think about it. An 80-year-old university professor is still learning, right? So being versatile includes the ability to reskill and upskill and cater to changing times. And for this, being versatile is really, really important, right? All right, the fifth skill, and for those of you asking for what are the previous skills we missed out, don't worry, I will do a quick recap of whatever we've done, right? The fifth skill is that of diversity and cultural intelligence. Now, what do we mean by this? So we live in a world where everything is connected, right? Now, as long as you have a visa, you could have hopped onto a plane and gone to any country you wanted, right? Of course, as long as you have a visa, right? Since the pandemic began, we, you okay? Yeah, okay. So my son is still playing, he just fell over, so sorry, my mistake, sorry. Again, my apologies, the realities of working from home. But ever since the pandemic began, we haven't been able to travel. But that doesn't mean that we can't connect intellectually. Now, you're sitting in your home, hopefully, stay at home, and in some part of India, right? I am speaking to you from my house in Sonipat, right? Even with the pandemic, it hasn't been, we still are connected, right? And people have greater access to mobility. As a result, we've ended up in a place where the workplace is diverse and open. Now, for example, we're still connected in the sense that late last night, and it was quite late last night, about 6 a.m. in the morning in San Francisco. It was about 9 p.m., 10 p.m. At night for us. We were in a conversation with UC Davis, the University of California, Davis campus, which is one of our partner universities, right? So we're still connected that way, right? So, but our workplace has become very, very open, has become very diverse. What do I mean by that? I've got faculty members, I've got colleagues coming in from all parts of the world, from Canada, from Russia, from United States, from England, Western Europe. Some are coming in from China, right? So what does that mean for us? Each of them come with their own ideas. They all come with their own ideologies, their own rationale, their own language, their customs, and so on and so forth, right? So I'll take an example. In the United States, it's perfectly legit, and I'm using the word the way you would use it, legit, to wear the Star-Spangled Banner, their national flag, as a piece of underwear. Perfectly legit, right? Imagine doing that with the Indian tricolor. Tauba, tauba. If you do that with the Indian tricolor, you get to go to jail immediately, no questions asked, right? But what does that mean? It means that freedom of speech or freedom of expression in the United States is slightly different from freedom of expression in India. What does freedom of expression mean in India for us? I mean, you guys can feel free to put it into the chat. What does freedom of expression mean to you in India, right? But to me, it means that I should be able to criticize my own government, right? One of the ways in which I can express my freedom of speech is by criticizing my own government, not a political party, a government, as long as I do so with all due respect. After all, it is still my government. I do pledge allegiance to India, right? Now, if you were to criticize, if you were a Chinese citizen, criticizing the Chinese government, guess what? You get to go to jail. So the idea of freedom of expression, a very simple idea, is different in different parts of the world. So when our workplaces have become more diverse and open, it is absolutely important that we as individuals have the skills to understand, respect, and work with each other, despite differences in, let's say, race. Somebody might be brown, somebody might be white, somebody might be yellow, somebody might be black, right? That's differences in skin color, right? Differences in culture, differences in age, in language, differences in gender, right? We are slowly waking up to the idea of non-binary gender. And this is something that thankfully the government of India has been pursuing over the last few years. Thanks to the Kaushal Foundation judgment, sexual orientation is no longer taboo. It is perfectly okay to have a non-binary gender. It is perfectly okay for girls to like girls and boys to like boys. It's perfectly all right. But we need to be able to accept those differences, whether they're differences in sexual orientation, whether there are differences in political opinion, or even religious beliefs, right? So if somebody is kneeling down on a mat facing west 5 times a day, I must be able to respect that, right? All right, so that means that we need to start developing diversity and cultural intelligence. The 6th skill, service orientation, right? Now, I've mentioned this before. It might be easier to hand over lots of our processes to machines in the future, but the human touch is something that people will always want. Think about it. The last time you called up customer care, I don't know whether, and this might be personal, of course, I don't know whether you preferred going through an IVR and you press the button for whatever menu, or you went straight to 9 and you kept hitting 9 until you spoke to a real person, right? Which means that service orientation is really important. What does this mean, right? Service orientation is the ability and desire, the want to anticipate other people's needs and to meet those people's needs. Sometimes, you okay? Sometimes even before those needs are said out aloud. Let's take a couple of questions. And these are rhetorical questions. Rhetorical questions. I don't need answers from you, right? These are questions that I want you to answer to yourself. The first is, how much do you help your friends, your family members, your teachers, your classmates, people on your team, people who you meet on a daily basis? When was the last time you sat down and thought to yourself, this person in my family will need this to be done in the next couple of hours. Let me go out and help them. How much are you known for that? Are you going to be the one that people turn to for help when they need it, right? What that means is service orientation is nothing but being proactively helpful. In the everyday world around us, services are and will continue to be absolutely crucial for as long as civilized history exists, right? And Amrita is saying, I said notes to my friend this morning. Good on you, Amrita. All right. The seventh, the last, and in my opinion, the most important skill to start developing is that of an ethical aptitude. Now, you might know what ethics are. Most schools will have a subject called moral education or value education or ethics or whatever. And I have my own opinion on why that should not be the case and why that's a terrible thing to do. But ethical aptitude is one of the key behavioral traits that separate us from animals. How we apply ethical principles to professional situations speaks a lot about who we are as individuals. It tells us whether we care about more than just profits, whether we care about sustainability, whether we care about how our decisions affect others. I'm going to wrap up this part of the workshop with a personal story of mine. I was working as a corporate lawyer in Delhi, and one of my clients was a company based out of South Korea. This company is one of the world's biggest iron and steel manufacturers. I can't name the company thanks to client confidentiality, right? And attorney-client privilege, but I can describe the client. If you know who the company is, what the company is, my recommendation, keep it to yourself, okay? South Korean company, multi-billion dollars, right? And wants to set up an iron and steel plant in the state of Odisha, as we would call it now. So what were we doing? How were we helping them? We were doing two things for them. The first is to help them apply for and get all the permits and licenses required for setting up an iron and steel plant. Okay, that's one. Second is to help them acquire land for their iron and steel plant. Now, as you may know, iron and steel plants take up a lot of space. They need a lot of land. And well, I need to help them buy that land. How do we do so? There is something called the land acquisition process. Now, the land acquisition process is a very useful is a very useful law, but it's also very weird, right? So for those of you who have understood who the company is, I would recommend keep it to yourself. That includes you, Laksh. Okay. All right. So Vanshika says, I love the music made in South Korea. Don't know anything about iron and steel companies. Great. I love BTS too. All right. Or actually Blackpink as well. I kind of like Blackpink. They're very good. So now this company needs to get a whole lot of land, right? So what do? We went to the Odisha state government and we said, we've got this client who needs so many hundreds of acres of land. Can you please help us? So what the Odisha state government does is that it takes a look at the plan, how many people are going to be affected, how many people are going to be employed, right? And how much revenue will it bring to the state? If the plan is found to be viable, then what the Odisha state government is going to do is going to go into their own farmers and villagers and say, we are taking away your land. Now those farmers and villagers can't say no, they can't refuse it, right? In return, the Odisha state government will compensate them, will give them money as compensation. The only thing these villagers and farmers can do is to ask for more compensation. Where is that money going to come from? From our clients. So our clients paid a lot of money to the Orissa state government. They disbursed that compensation. Great. So it's a very useful tool if you want to, promote industry, but it's also very weird because your land can be taken away without your consent. Law is weird sometimes. So one day I get a call from the Orissa state government, and this guy says that we need you to go down to the local villages and talk to them. We need you to talk to the local Gram Panchayat. I said, okay, not a problem. So I got onto a flight from Delhi to Bhubaneswar, got onto a cab, and I went to the villages. It's a few hours outside of Bhubaneswar. Now, as soon as I entered that village, the villages that were being affected, whose land we had taken away, you won't believe it. And I cannot make this up, right? A large rock, about this big, comes smashing into the front windscreen of the cab I'm in. Right now, I'm sitting at the back seat. I'm sitting at the back seat. I've got my suit on. I've got my laptop on. Standard corporate law, right? So obviously, we had to come to a screeching halt, right? And I wasn't affected. I wasn't hurt. Thank God. The driver suffered minor injuries. Again, thank God, from only minor injuries. We got out of the car to survey the damage, and immediately we were surrounded by angry villagers, like really pissed off, right? And I got pushed around a little bit. Laptop was still in the car, so it didn't get damaged. But nothing really happened. I didn't get beaten up or anything, thankfully, right? But these villagers were really angry. They came at us with lathis and other kinds of, weapons. And and Tansi says it sounds like a movie scene. Yeah, I was shitting bricks, man. Right? I was really scared, but nothing really happened. So, I said, okay, hang on, calm down. I'm not here to harm you. Please stop. Like, please don't hit me. Right? I'm not fit for this. I did not sign up for this. So we got talking, right? And they took me to the village elders and all that. So I sat down with them. I don't know much Odia, right? But I can understand a little bit because I'm from Calcutta. Right. So if you speak in Odia slowly, if you're from Odisha, if you speak Odia slowly, I will be able to understand. But they could understand me speaking in Bengali, right? So in broken Bengali, Odia, combination of all of that, and Hindi and English, this was the conversation that happened. I asked them, look, please don't be angry with us. Why are you so angry? And the answer was fairly simple and expected. You've taken away our lands, right? And you didn't ask for our consent, right? And I said, well, look, we've done everything that is legally required for us to be done, legally required for us to do. We've given you compensation, which we think is just and fair, right? It's equitable. And if you want more compensation, you can always go to the courts. I tried explaining this to them. So their problem was that, look, yes, we can go to the courts. The compensation you've given us is not enough because there's an iron and steel plant that's coming up, the price of land has gone up. There's more demand, right? People know that there's going to be an iron and steel plant. There's going to be more population over there. There are going to be more people. So the land prices have gone up. So I can't buy the same sort of plot of land, same size plot of land. Even if I go to court, it's going to be years. And we know how court systems are in India, right? I mean, you go to court, you get stuck there for years. And what do we do in the meantime? Because in the meantime, we can't till our land. We can't have any agricultural produce. We can't sell our agricultural produce. So effectively, to survive, we are eating off that compensation money, right? We are eating into our own capital. So I said, okay, you know what? I've got a solution for you. And I had asked my client beforehand if I can give them this offer, right? So now we are negotiating, right? So I said, okay, I'll tell you what, your problem seems to be that of survival. You don't have a place to stay. You don't have any employment. Let me fix that for you. So I said, temporarily, for now, you stay in your houses, okay? continue doing whatever it is you're doing. What we will do is we'll build housing for the few hundred of you that have been affected, right? We'll build housing, proper brick and mortar housing block. You get to stay in there rent free. Okay, that's one. Second, I'm going to arrange for vocational training for you, free of cost. And when the iron and steel plant comes up, I'm going to give you guaranteed employment. I'm going to give you jobs in that iron and steel plant, right? Which kind of made sense, right? Free housing, free vocational training, and guaranteed employment. I thought it was a good deal. It solves all your problems, right? They thought about it a little bit, and they came back and we sat down and chatted again. I stayed there for a couple of days, right? And what these guys said shook me to my core. And maybe that was one instance when I realized that maybe I need to stop being a cold-hearted corporate lawyer and maybe do something else. They came back to me and said that, okay, you're giving us free housing, free education, free vocational training, and guaranteed employment. It's very good. Sir, that's a very generous offer. But here's the thing. You are taking away our right to choose. My grandfather chose to remain a farmer. He could have gone to the city and become a laborer. Same thing with my father, same thing with me. I chose to stay back and till the land. Today, you have taken away that choice. Who are you to decide what I can do and cannot do? What career I can have and cannot have? It's a good point. It's a good question. In other words, in a more abstract sense, the question that was being asked that day was, should a multi-billion dollar iron and steel company, renowned throughout the world, right? Should they care? Should they be affected? Should they give two hoots? I can't use bad words. Should they give two hoots about a few hundred villagers? Should they care about them? This happened over a decade ago. I didn't have an answer then. And guys, till date, I don't have an answer. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's all right. But this is an example of an ethical question. This is an example of now having to take an ethical decision. What should I do now? Should I go back to my client and say, no, you got to let them, they are farmers, let them farm. Should I say that to my client? A couple of people are asking, did they accept the offer? Hell no, they did not. What did I end up doing? Not at liberty to say. I am not at liberty to disclose that, right? Okay, let's just keep that a mystery, right? There's some things I can share, some things I can't. Let's just keep it at that, okay? All right. So, all right, with that, we come to the end of this part of the webinar. I know you might have a lot of questions. Ankur, how much time do we have? Before you come on back and tell me how much time we have, I just want to go over what we've learned so far in the last hour or so. And I'm sorry, this went on way too longer than I was expecting, right? It's usually finished off in 30 minutes, 35 minutes. I don't know why we stretched it so long, but you guys have been great so far. Thanks to your engagement on chat. So what did we learn so far? Let's take a quick takeaway. Careers are going to change. They have always changed. They're going to continue to change, right? If you decide on your career right now, right, be prepared and expect to change that career 5, 10, 7, 20, 30 years down the line, right? If your career trajectory changes, maybe it will, maybe it won't. It's up, that it has a number of, you will have a number of variables in that. If it changes, if it doesn't matter. If it does change, how do we survive that change, right? That start developing universal career skills. Now, different people have different ideas on what these universal career skills are, but I've got seven reasons why, or well, seven career skills. I was going to say 99 problems, but I never mind. I've got 7 career skills for you that I think that you guys should start developing. What are these 7 skills? Intellectual curiosity, critical thinking, interpersonal skills, versatility, diversity and cultural intelligence, service orientation, and ethics, or an ethical aptitude. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly close off this part of my screen, open up the other. Oh my God, look at the questions here. All right, awesome. Ankur, how much time do we have left?
Professor, we have around 45 minutes.
45 minutes left. Okay, awesome. Wonderful. If you guys have any specific questions as to your career choices or your gosh, I didn't even know my caller was like that. For your career choices, feel free to ask. I've got the Q&A section as well as the chat section opened up in front of me. Feel free to go ahead and ask something that, all right. Do we, Shailendra, Ankur, other members of the team, is it acceptable to unmute people?
Yes, Arjo, we can do that.
All right, awesome. All right, I've got Dhruv Trivedi who has put up his hand. Other people have put up their hand. Dhruv, go ahead. I've allowed you to.
Yes, sir. I have a doubt. Actually, I'm very interested in creating YouTube content related to coding. Like I attended classes,
Okay.
learned coding.
Okay.
I wanted to start a channel, but my mother says that we spent money to make you learn coding, and then you are spreading that knowledge to others without getting anything. So,
okay. Interesting.
Why do you want to do that? Like you can do anything else, like something else, but why do you want to spread that knowledge without getting anything, which we have spent so much money on?
So Dhruv, I don't mean to be disrespectful or anything, but I think that's a little short-sighted on your mother's part. Right now, there are hundreds of coding classes available across the world. All you have to do is just type into the YouTube search whatever it is you want to do, and it'll come up, right? My recommendation to strike an even balance, an even ground, is that whatever you've learned from your classes, right, share, I'd say 80% of it, not 100%, right? So in other words, what you need to do is create content that gives them a little bit of the basics, but should not be a substitute for somebody who is actually earning money from coding, from teaching how to code, right? Because that's another part that you might need to take up, right? I've got a couple of comments on the chat box saying save the tricks to yourself, and I think that's very, very sound advice. All right, thank you very much, Dhruv, for that.
Sir, I wanted to ask one more thing.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I had an idea. I just wanted to ask, will it fail or will it work? So I can just make tell them the basics, make them learn the basics of the coding, and then once they have a trust on me, I can start courses. Is that a good idea? Like paid courses?
Sure. But my recommendation is that keep your free content engaging and interesting.
Yeah, sir. So once I have the interest and their...
That's what I've learned from my content.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Krishnaveer, go ahead.
So I don't have a question related to something. It's more of as an extracurricular. So I do want to do a degree in physics or something related to that, but I'm pretty not sure what can I do as an extracurricular which will help me with that.
Okay, this is a question that I get asked quite a lot. So Krishnaveer's problem is that he knows that he wants to do an extracurricular. He doesn't know which one, right? I'd say And again, I'm going to be frank and blunt here. You may like what I'm saying, you may not like what I'm saying. Again, feel free to disagree and diss me if you'd like. No problems. I'd say that until you want to do a particular extracurricular, don't do it. Don't do it. Do you want to know what my extracurricular skills were? Well, still are, I think. Guitar and rock climbing. Do you know why? And think about it. I'm looking at it from a 17-year-old boy's perspective. I'm assuming you guys are 15, 16-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
Those were my extracurriculars. I would play the guitar. I could kind of sing a little bit, right? And some people are saying that I'm 13. Great, not a problem. But think about it from a teenage boy's perspective in an all-boys school. I'm not very good looking, as you can see, right? I was shorter, kind of a little fatter back in school. Dark, never played sports. So how do you get female attention, right? And mind you, this is back in the 90s. You can't just slide into somebody's DMs. There were no DMs to slide into back then. So how do you get female attention? Something that most heterosexual boys look for. And I'm being honest, right? We know what we're talking about, right? So what did I do? I started playing the guitar. Why? Because back in the day, back in the 90s, in the last century, and yes, I am old, back in the 90s, if you played guitar, you were cool. You were really cool. So if you're strumming a guitar in a corner, guess what? You will get female attention. And that, my dear friends, is the reason why I picked up my extracurricular. Not because I wanted to build some profile. I just wanted to have a girlfriend. Of course, I was 17 years old, right? So my recommendation, Krishnavir, and everyone else who's confused about what extracurricular activities to pick up, you'll find it, you'll know it when you know it. It'll come from within. Don't worry about what should I pick up. If you don't have an extracurricular, that's perfectly fine as well. Nobody's going to judge.
No, I do have an extra, like I am in a few extracurriculars, but what mostly interests me is anime, and I do have a blog on that, but I'm not really sure if that's gonna help me for a physics degree, which is like...
Doesn't need to. It does not need to help you. An extracurricular is not meant to further your career. It's meant to further your soul, your character, so that you are more than just a...
It doesn't need to link to your application. Doesn't need to link to the thing you're applying for.
Absolutely not. And I can tell you with all sincerity and honesty, as somebody who heads admissions for, well, I'm hoping one of India's top private universities, I will tell you that your extracurriculars have nothing to do with your curriculars. Your extracurriculars just make you a more interesting person. It makes you more than a physics degree. You're a person, not a percentage for me, Krishnavir, right? All right. Thank you. Hopefully that was helpful. Akshat, go ahead. Akshat Singh Tomar, go ahead. Akshat, can't hear you. You've muted yourself. Okay. I want to go on to the next one. Aditya Jayesh Singh, I think I've allowed you to talk.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hi, Aditya.
Professor, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Aditya Jayesh. And sir, one of the seven things that you said was critical thinking. That was the second one.
Yeah.
So it's good for us to keep in mind of the worst case scenario in front of the best.
I remember you asking this question on the chat. Could you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, sir. It was me.
Could you elaborate what you mean by worst case scenario? I didn't quite get that.
Like, sir, you explained it by giving an example of people like the COVID situation.
Yeah.
People had to go back to their hometowns because they didn't have money.
Yeah. And that was pretty much a worst case scenario.
Yeah. So is it important for us to keep in mind of the worst case scenario before the best? Like what could happen if it did go wrong?
Well, it depends, right? And again, there is it depends upon the situation you're in, and the likelihood of the outcome, right? Now, yes, in hindsight is 2020, right? So us sitting in June 2021, we're looking back at March, April 2021 and saying, oh, we should have prepared with more hospital beds and cylinders. We should have been better prepared with our vaccination. Great. Hindsight is 2020. But at the end of the day, when you're taking a decision, right, what you do take into account are probabilities and possibility, not really possibilities, right? And that is something that will probably come through experience, right? So when you personally are taking a call on something that you need to do, you'll need to think about, okay, what's the worst that could happen? What's the best case scenario? And how likely is it that one of these two things will happen? Most likely, the probability is going to be somewhere in the middle. It's not going to be the best, not the worst, right? But there again, because hopefully you'll have developed critical thinking skills by then, you'll look at all possibilities and you'll figure out what is the best possible outcome for me, right? And how can I sort of drive that? How do I ensure that the people who I'm affecting with this decision, how can I ensure that at least they feel that I've taken their viewpoints into account, right? So you don't necessarily take the worst case scenario nor the best case scenario. You'll probably take a probability. And well, in India, if something's going to happen, people are going to die. Let's just put it that way. We place a very low value on human life, which is very, very unfortunate. But, well, that's just the way it is right now. It's changing, hopefully. And by the time you guys are in power, by the time I am retired, I hope you will remember me telling you that, look, you guys got to change that, right? We've seen an entire 14 months of where human life has been degraded down to its lowest dregs. Human life has been left with zero value. Lives have been left gasping for air. You guys can change that, right? If you start developing these skills that I've just taught you. It's too late for the powers that be, perhaps, right? All right. Hopefully that answered your question, Aditya.
Thank you, sir.
All
Thank
right.
you, Professor, so much.
Awesome. Tavleen, Kaur, go ahead.
Good morning, sir. I'm a student from class 10.
Uh-huh.
And I actually am really confused right now because I want to take business as my career.
Uh-huh.
And under business, I want to go into marketing. So I'm really confused that if I should take commerce or humanities, because I want to take humanities because I'm good at arts, and commerce because it contains business studies and everything, but I'm also not good at maths. So it's a whole roller coaster. So I don't understand what I should take.
All right. Thanks, Tavleen. Sorry for the interruption. So you want to be a marketer. You know, my favorite marketer right now has been for a very long time, Steve Jobs. Look at any of his keynote speeches. He would come on a stage and he would be like, I've got something wonderful for you, right? And it's out of the world, it's revolutionary, it's wow, something huge, right? He was my favorite marketer. Does he have a degree in marketing or in business? He doesn't. But my point is, if you want to be a marketer, don't worry about, again, I'm just going back to my original point. It does not matter what your first degree is. Pick any degree, whatever you want, whatever you like, right? You'll pick up the skills on the way, right? You will. I have full faith in you, right? But if you were to ask me, if you're not happy with maths, that's okay. That's all right. You will, by the way, guys, all of you listening in, if you think that class 10 is the end of your maths, or you think class 12 is the end of your maths, reality check, guys. Eventually, when you start earning, you got to do your taxes, man. You have to file your taxes. That involves some kind of maths. Sorry to break it to you guys. These are things that they should teach you in school that they don't teach you, unfortunately. Taxes are maths at the end of the day, right? All right. So even if you're not if you're not good at maths, there are some BCom programs that do offer that do not have a huge maths component. I know I know for a fact that Jindal's BCom program does not have too much maths in it. But if you're that scared, Tavleen, I would recommend an arts degree, an arts course. There are plenty of arts courses around. One possibility, and I'm just putting this idea into your head, it's not like Inception or anything. One possibility, and this is something you might just think about. Consider a combination of psychology and marketing, because this is something that I'm beginning to see, because ads or advertising is all around us, right? The fact that this is my AC remote, it's got this brand on it, Whirlpool, right? This is advertising, because when somebody comes into my home office and they see, oh, I'm using a Whirlpool AC and it works really well. I've been sitting here for 1 hour without breaking into a sweat in this jacket. Hey, Whirlpool is a great product, right? You open any feed, any Instagram, Snapchat, what do you have it? Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, it's full of ads. One option is that try to figure out what your target audience is thinking. How do you do that? BA psychology. So maybe that's one option. If you're that scared of maths, the key takeaway is go ahead and do arts, not a problem. Tavishi Banka, go ahead.
So I've been wanting to be a baker and I made my portfolio for my baking school. But so when I finished making my portfolio, my mom told me there's no use of you going to baking school as there's so many bakers in Calcutta and in India. So you won't be like renowned and you won't be able to sell a lot of cakes and cookies and whatever you bake. So I don't know what to do because I've been thinking of
Okay,
baking.
so guys, I do feel you. Trust me, I feel you. Back when I was in class 10, you know what I wanted to be? I wanted to be a journalist. I could read and write in English fairly well. I think I still do, I think. So what do people who are good at English do? They become journalists, right? And I thought it was really exciting because at that point in time, we were exposed to, and this was, class 10 was 1999, right? And India was liberalizing. You had new television channels coming in. You had cable TV, and you had people like Pranoy Roy, Barkha Dutt, Shekhar Gupta, Karan Thapar. Those were journalists back then, and those were really, really good people. So I wanted to be a journalist like them. What did my father say? Nothing doing, you are becoming engineer. Does that sound familiar? So I wanted to take up, my son is down here, he's laughing as well. So I want to be a journalist. Father said, nothing doing, you're becoming an engineer, right? So I got into science. And I don't think that has changed. That we want something, our parents want something else. And the two are at loggerheads. So for all of you who have the same problem, I don't mean any disrespect to your parents. They've gone through whatever they've gone through. They've had their own histories. They've had their own experiences. They could be good, bad, ugly. I don't know. But at the end of the day, a parent will only ever look out for their child. That's where they're coming from. That's their sort of mindset. That's why they're saying this. At the same time, they're saying whatever they're saying because of their experiences. So perhaps one option is to tell them that, look, you are saying this from your experience, from your mistakes. Let me make my own. Let me make my own mistakes. Right? I see Ankur on the screen, which gives me a cue that I need to stop talking.
Yeah, you can go on if you want to. I think
no, I don't want to bore people. But also I have to start driving. I'm going to Dehradun right now, and I should move on at some point of time. But you want to say hi to everyone? No? All right. So, Ankur, thank you so much for this opportunity. I've had so much fun, man.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so a lot of people have been asking me for my email address. Yeah? Forget that. I'm not going to give you my email address. What I'm going to give you is a challenge. You know my name. It's right down here, right? You know where I work, where I teach. You better know where I teach, right? Otherwise, you shouldn't be here, man. Okay. My email address is a matter of public record. It's there on the internet somewhere. I promise. Now, I work 18 hours a day. Well, not 18, 16 hours a day, right? I work 16 hours, right? I work 16 hours a day. But I promise that if you write to me with a question, I promise I will write back to you. I might take a few days, but I will write back to you. Pinky swear. Okay? All right. Back to you, Ankur. Thank you so much. This was an amazing session. Thank you, guys. I had so much fun. And I'll hopefully see you in another avatar and another day at some point of time.
Thank you so much, Professor Arya, for that wonderful, energetic, and eloquent session. We really enjoyed it, and I think students did so much. They're already blasting the chat box. I think we are going to be spammed by a lot of your email IDs for the day. But students, I hope you had a wonderful 90 minutes with Professor. He is one of our best speakers in the university, and I can see why he has that reputation of connecting with the students so wonderfully well. Thank you so much, Professor, for doing an excellent job on a Saturday morning. We are now going to go on to our last session for the 6-day event that we had, admissions and courses at OP Jindal Global University, which I'll be talking about. Before that, I would also like to take a feedback from all of you on how was it your experience for the last 6 days. So I've created one form that I want all of you to fill. I'll be sharing the link in the chat box. Please fill up that form. Take 5 to 10 minutes. We would like to hear from you. How was this experience for you? I'm going to share that link right away in the chat box.
In the meantime, Ankur, thank you very much, and I will log off here.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much. Have a good ride to Dehradun.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Bye. So please, students, if you can fill this feedback form, we'll just take 5 minutes and we'll start the final session of the 6-day journey that you were on. Please, I hope everybody has got this form. Please fill up this form. Take 5 minutes, take a 5-minute break, or take some time off and fill this form with. Everybody has received this form? Can you see the link in the chat box? Just say yes or no. Thank you. Please fill this form up, 5 minutes. Students, please fill up the feedback form. We'll wait for you. I can only see about 40 forms submitted. We have 500 plus students. I don't want to make it a mandatory requirement for your certificate, but won't force me to. But I can see over 500 students here. Please fill up that form. Take your time. We would like to hear from you. We want to improve our summer engagement week experience for the further programs that we plan. So please help us, and we'll help you. Give more 5 minutes, and please fill up those forms and let us know how you feel about the last 6 days. I am going to share the link again. Please fill up the feedback form that I have shared with you. The link is here. We would love to hear from you. We're at 136 now. Keep it coming, students. Thank you, Keshav. Thank you for filling the form. Thank you, Sanskriti. Thank you for filling the form up. We need about 500 submissions of the form. Please keep those feedback coming. So we have crossed 250 submission students, halfway mark. Another 250 students who are waiting. Please fill up the feedback form. Thank you so much to all those who have submitted their feedback, but we need more. Thank you so much. Keshav and others who are asking about e-certificate, please wait. I'll have my session and I'm going to tell you about how you will get your e-certificates. But meanwhile, please fill up the feedback form. I'm going to come to the certificate part in a bit. Just give us another 5 minutes and we'll be done through the feedback. Those who have not done it, students, please do it right away. So we are at 280 form submissions, still waiting for another about 200 more, 220 more applications to be submitted. I hope all of you are doing that. Somebody is not able to do that, please let me know. Here is the link again in the chat box. No assignment to be done, Shalinder. We need you to fill up the feedback form, which has been shared in the chat section. Please do it right away. Thank you, Prisha. Those who are asking me, can they leave and will they be eligible for certificates? You know the rule. You cannot leave. We will not give you the certificate if you have not attended the session. So you cannot keep on asking me the same question again and again. All of you who will be eligible for the certificate should have attended all our sessions. And that is right from day one, what we have told you. So please don't ask the question again and again. Please don't send me WhatsApp. Also, because I can't do anything. The rules have been set by the university. Only those students who have submitted the form, attended all the sessions will be eligible for the certificate, and definitely feedback form. Those who fill up the feedback form also will be eligible for the certificates if their attendance tallies. So if you don't fill up the feedback form, if your attendance is not full, we will not be able to give you any certificate. So that's the law of the land. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. We'll wait for another 3 minutes. At 11:50 we'll start. We are at 325 forms. Students, still there are some students who have not filled up the form. Those who do not fill up the form will not be eligible for the certificates. As simple as that. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Who wants to be unmuted? Brinda. Give me a second, Brinda. I'll do that. Yes, Brinda, tell me.
Hello, sir. I'm audible.
Yeah, you are.
Sir, have you received my feedback form?
It's very difficult for me to find out right now. Have you submitted it?
Actually, sir, there was some connectivity issue from my end. According to me, I have submitted, but just for confirmation, I was asking from you that it was submitted or not.
No, I can't tell it right now because that is being handled by my backend team. So if you have doubts,
sir,
please submit it again.
According to me, I have submitted. But if you find later on that I have not submitted, then please to inform me. I'll fill that form again.
I suggest you fill it right away again, rather than waiting for us, because there are more than 500 students here. I don't
And
want
sir,
you
one
to
more
feel
thing.
that loss. Yeah.
Sir, on 7th June, I have not attended the session, but other days I have attended all the sessions.
Brenda, you will have to reach out to me on email. I'll share my email ID. Just write an email to me and we'll see with our backend team what we can do.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, students. So I'm going to start with the last session of the day. Meanwhile, please fill up the form. As I said, that form is mandatory to be filled up by all the students as part of your requirement for the certificate. So I hope you finish it. There are about 350 students that have finished the form, but still there are about 150 odd who have not filled up the form. Please fill up the form as soon as you can. If you don't fill up that form, we will not be able to help you out with the certificate. So thank you so much. So thank you for being here with us for the last 6 days, should I say. Today is the final session. We talk about OP Jindal Global University, our admissions, our program structures, and the courses that we offer. As many of you would have known by now, but if still there is somebody who doesn't know, we are a leading social science research-based liberal arts institution located in Delhi, NCR, India. We are a very unique institution in the sense that we have been reimagining the higher education sector in India ever since our inception. Just yesterday, QS came out with its annual rankings, and we are once again ranked as the #1 private university in the field of social science, arts, humanities, education in the country. And that's the laurel that we have for the last couple of years. Our law school is amongst the top 100 law schools in the world. We were ranked number 76 in the world, not in India, but across the world. There are law schools in the West that are behind us, that have a legacy of hundreds of years, but still they cannot match what we have to offer in law education in India. And that's the same for all other schools as well. We have had a brilliant journey, but we are a very young university. OP Chandra Global University was only established in the year 2009. And since 2009, we have been reimagining, as I said, the higher education sector in India. The university was set up as a place of excellence in teaching, learning, research in the field of social science, arts, and humanities. You know, for our country, we have brilliant engineering education institutions like IITs, where you can go and study, where a million students apply for about 10,000 odd seats that are there in the IIT. There is the medical education. Again, there are islands of excellence there. You have the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, the government medical colleges, and a few private players. But hardly any, if you go back a decade, there was hardly any good institution in the field of social science, arts, liberal arts, humanities. So OP Jindal Global University was set up as an institution of excellence, as a vision of two very important people that I want to talk about here. One is our founding Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. C. Rajkumar, who at the young age of 34 became the youngest founding Vice Chancellor anywhere in the country. He is a Rhodes Scholar, a guy who went to Harvard, Oxford, and Hong Kong University. He could have had a brilliant career anywhere in the world. And he has this amazing story where he talks about when he chose to come back to India to set up this university, he had an option to go to work at the United Nations offices in Switzerland. And he chose this over that. And the statement that he gives is very, very important for students to understand the ethos of this place. A person who came back, who is a Rhodes Scholar, who came back to India to set up a university as a private institution, he wanted to set up not just another private institutions. He wanted to set up an institution of excellence. And he was ably supported by our Chancellor, Mr. Naveen Jindal from Jindal Steel and Power Limited, who generously donated land, resources to set up this world-class institution in the heart of rural Haryana, which not many people will be sure of, that the institution of such an excellence can be set up in Haryana. And still today, when I go and give talks about OP Jindal Global University, a lot of people have apprehensions on how is it possible that a field in rural Haryana has such a fantastic institution, which hosts faculty from 20 plus countries, students from all over India and abroad, which has international collaborations with 250 plus universities, including universities such as Harvard, Stanford, Yale, Columbia, You talk about Ivy League institutions in US, UK, Canada, France, Europe, Australia. Hopi Jindal Global University is there. We were also ranked as an institution of eminence by Ministry of Education, Government of India last year. Institution of eminence, by the way, is a very important benchmark for evaluating any Indian university. And if you're listening in from India and you're looking to join a university in the coming couple of years or 3 years down the line, I think Institution of Eminence is a brilliant benchmark for you to evaluate a university by. Just to give you a context, there are about 950 plus universities in India, and only about handful of them have got an Institution of Eminence tag. What we have to keep in mind here is that Institution of Eminence was only given to, I'm sorry, give me a second. Institution of Eminence was given only to 20 universities in this country. 10 of them are public institutions, such as IITs, sorry. So 20 institutions out of 950 plus institutions have been given the tag of Institution of Eminence. 10 of them are institutions such as IITs, Delhi University, Jadavpur University, and there is a whole list of institutions that you can just Google and you will have that list. Now, there are only 10 private institutions that have been recognized as an Institution of Eminence. And out of that, those 10 institutions, Hopi Jindal Global University is the only university, only private university to be focused on social science, liberal arts, humanities education to be recognized as a Institution of Eminence. There are many criteria that we have to fill to be an Institution of Eminence. One of the biggest criteria that was there was our commitment that we'll break into global rankings, global world rankings in the coming 10 years amongst the top 500 institutions. As you know, we do not have many institutions from India in the world 500 universities. There are about a handful of us, our institutions such as, and just a couple of days back, the list was out, the IITs, IIT Delhi, IIT Madras, IIT Bombay, IIT Kanpur, IIT Kharagpur. These are 5 institutions in the top 500 universities in the world. And the sixth one is Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. So there are only 6 institutions that are there in the top 500 universities in the world. I'm happy to share that OP Jindal Global University is amongst the top 700 universities in the world, which is going to change soon as we have made a commitment to the government that we will be amongst the top 500 institutions in the world in coming 5 to 10 years. So that's the vision of this place. We are not just another university, a private university where you can buy your way in, where there is no emphasis on education, when you do not have world-class faculty. And I don't want to get into the details of our faculty members. You have all had a flavor of our faculty in the last 6 days. You would have seen the quality, the content that these faculty members have, the approach that they have to teaching. You've just heard from Professor Arya Majumdar, who is a Dean for Admissions and Outreach, who is a fantastic lawyer, who is a scholar in law education, who teaches wonderful programs to students. And these are the kind of faculty members that teach at OP Jindal Global University. We have about 850 plus faculty members. I encourage all of you to go online on our website to see their profiles. The university offers programs across 18 undergraduate programs across these fields. So you have courses in law. We have the 5-year BLLB, the 5-year BBLLB, which is the integrated program. We also offer the Jindal Global Business School. You heard from the faculty as well during this week, which offers 2 programs, BBA honors and an integrated BBA plus MBA honors. Then I think one of its kind program that only our law school offers is a 3-year BA honors in legal studies. We also offer a 3-year BA honors in global affairs. I think only private university in India to have a dedicated school of international affairs. I hope you remember our session that was taken by the ex-ambassador to France from India, Professor Dr. Mohan Kumar, who teaches in our School of International Affairs. So such is the quality of faculty members that teach. We also offer a BA honors in political science. The School of Government and Public Policy under the JGU offers 2 programs, BA honors in economics and BA honors in social science and policy. Then we have our leading and one of the most well-established liberal arts school in the country, which offers a BA in liberal arts and humanities, which is again a 3-year program. The Jindal School of Journalism and Communication offers a BA in Journalism and Media Studies, which is a 3-year program. Again, very interesting school that not many private universities in this country have is a dedicated school for environment and sustainability, which offers a 3-year BA in Environment Studies. The Jindal School of Banking and Finance offers 2 programs, BA Honors in Entrepreneurship and Finance and BCom Honors. Our newly launched Jindal School of Psychology and Counseling offers 2 programs, BA Honors in Psychology and Counseling. And the last school that we offer undergraduate education is the Jindal School of Art and Architecture, where you heard Professor Jaydeep Chatterjee yesterday doing a wonderful workshop around built environment. So they offer 3 programs, B Arch, BA Built Environment Studies, and B Design. So these are the programs that we offer at the undergraduate level. There is one program that I missed here, which is the Bachelor of Fine Arts Honors, which is also offered under the umbrella of our Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities. Then the university offers postgraduate programs. There are about 8 of them. And we also offer PhD programs. I'm not going to talk about postgraduate programs as of now because we are talking majorly to school students. Now, why JGU? I think these 7 parameters amplify why you should look at OP Jindal Global University. I already spoke about faculty. Interdisciplinarity, we have been talking about interdisciplinarity since the last 6 days during this summer engagement week. The ability for you to study what you want to study, the ability for you to be not hand-holded and told that you should study this and not study this, the ability for you to be having a flexible education is the beauty of interdisciplinary education that OP Jindal Global University has to offer. The internationalization part, as I said, 250 plus collaborations from around the world. No other university can offer you that. And then rankings, awards, and accreditations, I've already spoken about them. Student life, infrastructure, alumni outcomes, all of them come together and make the JGU brand. One of the things that you should know about faculty members also, apart from the international faculty, rich industry experience, gender equality that we have, is a faculty-student ratio. OP Jindal Global University maintains 1:8 faculty-student ratio. How does it help you as a student? Well, if you have one faculty member who is responsible for 8 students, it will be better in terms of your connect with the access to that faculty member, connect with that faculty member, the classroom experience. You know what is the ratio of faculty to student even in our top ranking institutions such as Delhi University or IITs? IITs have a faculty to student ratio about 1:25, while Delhi University has about 1:40 as faculty student ratio. Now compare this to 1:8. You will get to know why OP Jindal Global University should be your choice of education destination and not any others. I've already spoken about our faculty members. These are some of our leading faculty members and deans of our various schools. I spoke about Professor Dr. C. Rajkumar, who is a dynamic personality. I think he is an authority on higher education in this country. And there are many other distinguished faculty members and deans who are heading a lot of our schools in the university. Interdisciplinarity, I have already spoken about it. We offer over 200 elective subjects in the university. So students are free to choose their courses as per their requirement. A student of architecture, just to give you an example, a student of architecture may take up a course on urban planning from the public policy school. A student of global affairs may take up a course on international economic law from the law school. So that is just an example to give you the breadth of courses that you can take up at the university. I'm going to talk about now about internationalization. Study abroad program that are exclusively for OP Jindal Global University students, and no other university can go for those exclusive tie-ups. We have the Jindal Oxford Summer School on International Law and Governance, the Jindal Harvard Program on Human Rights and Development, the Jindal Fletcher Program on Diplomacy and Foreign Policy. Then we have a tie-up with University of Arizona as their global campus here in India. And there are many, many more international mobility programs that OP Jindal Global University students have access to, and no other university in India has access to, or students have access to, those kind of exclusive programs with top tier Ivy League institutions in the West. Student life, definitely we are a compulsory residential campus. So we definitely miss our students. Since last year and more now, we have not been able to host students on our campus, but we are hoping that the situation will improve soon and we will have students from all over India come back to our campus. It's a wonderful campus, dear students. I encourage you to, at a better time and at a better space, you can come and see our campus. We used to host a lot of families for our campus tours, but unfortunately, these days we are not able to do that. But encourage you to go online and see our virtual campus tour. It won't give you the same experience as in person, but I am afraid that's the only option we have. But you will see a campus which is, I think, one of the best infrastructure wise also. We host about 6,000 plus students, all of us, including me, faculty members, staff, students stay on campus, which makes us easily accessible to students and which makes us a very strong community of people who are driven by reimagining the higher education space in this country, reimagining how a classroom should experience should be, reimagining how we should be asking the right questions to the people in authority. What after happens after JGU is also very important. Our Office of Career Services, I think we are the only university to have a dedicated 20 to 30 member strong Office of Career Services, which looks after your requirement for internships, projects, research, and final placements in the university campus itself. The placement part, which is most favorite question of all of my students and parents, doesn't begin at the end of your third year or at the end of your fifth year if the program. Our placement or career services starts right from your day one in the university. Right from the day one, we start working towards uh, gearing you towards the right kind of careers. I think we have what we call as a very important aspect of our teaching is the faculty mentorship program, where a faculty member is assigned to a student. He or she becomes like your friend on the university campus. You can go to him for any questions, right from your personal life to your campus life to your friends, to even your family issues, to your career issues. You want to go to a particular university in the West for higher education, talk to him. You want to go to a particular company and work for that company, start talking to him. So he will guide you, or she will become your mentor to guide you through your career goals. So conducting workshops on CV writing, group discussions, that's basic, that will happen. But individualized attention, that customized education is the ethos of OP Jindal Global University. And that is reflected in our Office of Career Services. Now coming to admission process, which I know is a favorite question of many of you. We are a very competitive university to get into. We are an aspirational place. We would love to have more students, but when we are limited by the resources at our hand, just to give you an example, we get about more than 10,000 applications every year, and we recruit about 2,000 odd students in our undergraduate programs. Now, the admission process for our schools is quite straightforward. For 5-year law programs, which is the BLLB and the PBLLB, we only accept one exam, which is LSAT India. We do not accept CLAT. So CLAT has no role in admission process for our law program. So anybody who wants to study law, the 5-year law program at OP Jindal Global University, please start preparing for LSAT India exam. This year, the exam is already being conducted, and we will be coming out with the results in another couple of days. So the class for 2021, we have already finished the admission process. So that is a taken. So that is the law school 5-year law admissions. For the B.Arch program, our admissions are conducted via NATA, which is the national test for architecture admissions in the country, which is conducted by Council of Architecture. So for those students who want to pursue the 5-year B.Arch program, NATA is the exam that you should be looking at. I don't know if you know more about these exams, but I suggest that you do a Google and find out more. I do have few slides. If I have time, I'll run you through those slides as well. For all other programs at OP Jindal Global University, we follow a holistic admission process. Now, what do I mean by holistic admission process? So holistic admission process. So let's say you want to study liberal arts at OP Jindal Global University. You will go online. And by the way, the entire admission process for OP Jindal Global University is now online on our website. The website is jgu.edu.in. You go there and you start your application. You'll see a link which says admissions 21 or apply now. Just click on that link and you will get a landing page. You fill up that form and you will be on your way to apply to us. So you have to apply for any education at OP Jindal Global University apart from the 5-year law program. You will have to give us your predicted scores for grade 11, 12. This year, because of pandemic, since the grade 12 exams have been cancelled, we are not asking you for predicted scores. We are actually not asking you for any of your grade 12 scores. I think we were the front runners in saying that we will not be making mandatory for students to submit their grade 12 scores, and they will no longer decide whether you get into OP Jindal or not. So grade 12 has now been made only as an eligibility. You just need to pass your grade 12. We are not giving any weightage to your grade 12 marks because of the exceptional situation that we are in. So what are we giving weightage to? We are giving weightage to your grade past academic record, which is your grade 10, 11 scores. We are giving weightage to your entrance examination scores. We accept SAT, ACT, or JSAT. So if you have a SAT score, you don't need to write ACT. If you have a ACT score, you don't need to write JSAT. What is JSAT? JSAT is our own aptitude test, Jindal Scholastic Aptitude Test. If you don't have an SAT, ACT score, you can give JSAT. JSAT is again for the convenience of student conducted completely online, and it can be given right from the comfort of your home, from your comfort of your home, in the sense that you have a stable internet connection and a laptop and a Windows laptop. You can give it from your home itself. And then we come to the non-academic and personal context. We definitely require a letter of recommendation. We definitely require a personal context in sense of there are several prompt questions that you need to answer. And we definitely look forward to having more of your learning more about your extracurriculars, what have been your achievements in those fields. The final part of your application is your in-person assessment, which is conducted again virtually via an interview. Jindal Scholastic Aptitude Test, JSAT, is a 120 minutes online test comprising of 120 multiple choice questions from 3 sections: logical reasoning, maths, and English. So students, if you are interested in JSAT, you can give JSAT online through the website. Again, the link is there, pearsonview.com/JSAT. You have to go online, register there, and make a payment of the fee, registration fee, to give JSAT, pick a slot and date and time that you want to give your exam on. So the entire process, as I said, is online. LSAT India, again, as I said, this year LSAT India is already over, so you cannot apply for the 5-year law program. For next year LSAT India, please keep an eye out for this website that is mentioned there, discoverlaw.excelindia.com, and we'll be happy to listen from you. NATA, as I said, is a test that is conducted by Council of Architecture at national level for admission to 5-year PR program. So that is again a test that is not conducted by us, but by Council of Architecture. You can go and visit their website to find out when this test will be conducted. This year, it is scheduled to be conducted somewhere in the month of July. More details, I think, should be available on the website. Now, what happens in the interview process? A lot of students get stressed out about interview. Just to tell you, our interview process is not a stress interview. We basically check 5 skills in a student. One is your oral communication skills, written communication skills, imagination and creativity, self-reflection, diversity, and range of extracurriculars. So these are the 5 major skills that we want to find out more during that 5-minute interaction. Generally, the interactions are between 10 to 15 minutes. So we do not ask rocket science questions. We ask you questions right from whatever you have written in your application form. So that's about the interview part. We do offer scholarships. The university is a not-for-profit institution of excellence and offers scholarships on a means cum merit basis. What does this mean? So if your family income is below 30 lakhs, you become eligible for the scholarship process. Eligibility is 30 lakhs and below, and then the merit kicks in. So depending on the number of applications and for the scholarship, we come out with a merit list. Students in the top rankings of that merit list become eligible for scholarship, which range from 10% to 100% of the tuition fee waiver. Scholarship applications only open closer to the date of our batch initiation. I've already spoken about amenities and facilities. Our campus is world class. As I said, you can visit our virtual tour and find out more about our campus life. Thank you so much. That was my presentation for our courses and admissions. I'll be happy to take some questions now if you have any about our admissions and courses at the Global University. Anybody wants to ask us any question can raise your hand and I'll unmute you, or you can write it in the chat section. Chat section is also open. I'll take some questions there. Let me just first unmute some of you. Okay, so I'm unmuting all of you that have raised hand, and if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself.
I have a question.
Yes, Harshit, go ahead.
So can you tell me about the eligibility and the admission process for the BA Honors in Liberal Arts?
Thank you, Harshit. You are from which school?
The PR International School.
And which grade?
Those are my same question. I have
The
to
Varanasi.
Okay, Harshit has the question around liberal arts. Anybody else? One of you was saying same question.
eligible age.
Okay, so for liberal arts, our eligibility is that you need to give us your academic background right from your grade 10, grade 11. That's the two scores that we want. Second thing that we want from you is one of these entrance examination scores. Either it can be SAT, it can be ACT, or it can be JSAT. Don't worry if you don't have the SAT or ACT scores, you can appear for JSAT. The test slots are available almost every day now, and the access is available to all the students with a stable internet and a laptop. You can give it the test from the comfort of your home. So that is your entrance examination. The third part of your application is your extracurriculars. What have you done apart from your classroom? It can be any social activity that you're taking. It can be any voluntary thing that you're doing. It can be any sport that you play and you have represented your state or country at national or international levels. And the fourth part is your interview. Interview is conducted, as I said, virtually. These days, again, you don't have to go anywhere and you can conclude with the interview virtually. Once you have given these four aspects of your applications to us, we let you know whether you have been selected or not selected for the liberal arts program. I hope that answers.
Yes.
Okay, any other question? Anybody else wants to unmute themselves and find out more about any program you want to know? I'm just unmuting all of you, just at your will.
So can you hear me?
Yeah, Arnab, we can go with your question.
How many seats we have?
For which program?
Liberal arts bachelors.
Liberal arts, we are looking at a class of 180.
180. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I had a question.
Yeah, Dhruv, go ahead.
So as you said, we need 10th and 11th mark course, like class course. So this year the 10th exam was cancelled. So is there any change according to that?
Yes, absolutely. So this year 10th examinations were cancelled. We are still waiting for the marking scheme to come out. Depending on whatever the national government guides us, we will tweak our admission process accordingly. Like as this year happened, when the 12th examinations got cancelled, we have made those marks irrelevant for admission process for students looking at admissions this year. So definitely we will make those decisions in the interest of the student community. We will not let circumstances which are not in your hand penalize you for anything. So don't worry, we will ensure that we tweak our process accordingly.
Okay, so thank you.
So can we access to liberal arts with any stream?
Arshit, yes, you can apply to liberal arts program with any background. There is no requirement that you have to study a particular subject to apply for liberal arts.
So when should we be giving the LSAT if we want admission in the law program next year?
So the LSAT for this year was conducted in the month of May and June. So we started from end of May till about first week of June. We had the exam. Next year also, you can expect around May the exam to be conducted. Our applications for LSAT open somewhere around December. So you can start your book a slot in starting December, but the exam will be conducted somewhere in the month of May. Actually, there is one more announcement. We had LSAT this time, which was conducted 2 times. So we had one in March also, and then we had the final one in May. So please check on the website discoverlaw.india.com. That the website, I do not remember the exact link, but the website for LSAT India, go there and register yourself. You can register for regular updates. They will let you know. This year we conducted LSAT twice. One is March and one May. So keep yourself posted.
Okay, thank you, sir. Also, in the LSAT and the school scores, what are the qualifying scores approximately?
Last year, our cutoff was 80 percentile and above for our 5-year law.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else wants
So
to ask
good
any
afternoon.
question?
So
Good afternoon.
what is the average course fee of your law program for 1 year?
I think the law fee is, give me a second, around 5.5 lakhs, if I'm not wrong. Let me just confirm this. 5.5 lakhs per annum. And then we have the hostel residential fee, which is 2.6 lakhs per annum. But just give me a second. I'll just confirm this. Academics. Yeah, it's 6 lakhs per annum. The 5-year law program, BLLB, BBLLB is the tuition fee, and 2.6 lakhs per annum is your residence fee if the campus is in operation.
So good afternoon again. What I wanted to ask was, how is the university working during the lockdown? Suppose the students need particular equipment, so how is the university providing that? Because I did remember you mentioning that the university has particular equipment that the students can use. So how is the university providing that?
So for us, Suryansh, thank you for that question. Absolutely, we are working in offline mode, or actually online mode. Sorry, everything has been running virtually, and it has been running very well to the best of the circumstances that we can do. Since we have an advantage of being a social sciences, arts, liberal arts, and humanities university, there are not many requirements of lab presence apart from our B.Arch program, where you do require School of Art and Architecture, where you require labs and art studios and those kind of aspects. So those requirements have been reassigned. So if you are in a second year or a first year or a third year in a 5-year B.Arch program, those have been shifted to the next year, so that when the campus open, you can pursue that. If that is not possible, whatever the best situation is virtually we can do, we are doing that. But apart from that, I don't think as we are not a science oriented university, we do not have any great requirement of labs and lab experiments.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I had one more doubt.
Yeah, Dhruv, go ahead.
Sir, what are the requirements for BA in architecture? Like,
the requirements for BA in architecture is that you have to clear NATA exam.
Sir, is it only that, or we need something else also?
No, definitely. After you clear NATA, there is a interview process with the faculty members of the School of Art and Architecture. I hope you met Professor Jaydeep Chatterjee yesterday, who was conducting the workshop. He is the director for the admissions committee as well.
Okay.
Is there any sort of age requirement for applying to the university?
There is no age requirement. You should have finished your grade 12. That's the minimum requirement. You should have passed your grade 12 examination.
And so what is the age requirement for giving NATA exam?
What is the?
age requirements for giving NATA exam?
Again, I think grade 12 is the eligibility. Either you should have qualified your grade 12 examination, or you should have given graduated from grade 12. That's the eligibility that
So what
I
is
know
the
of.
syllabus?
Syllabus for
JC?
NATA, I suggest you go to the website here. I don't have the whole details of the
Syllabus
NATA
of
exam
JSAT.
here. Or
Okay,
JSAT.
thank you.
So, like many universities
Yes, sir.
need students to have maths for the admission process, or they require a certain percent in the particular subject. So, do you have any?
No,
Do
we
you
don't
have
have.
any
We
cutoff
don't
for
have
math?
for. We don't have any requirement for maths in our programs such as economics and liberal arts, but we do have a requirement of maths. I think for our BArch program, if you want to study architecture, BArch program definitely requires, as per the NATA rules and guidelines, you to study maths. So do check out if you are eligible for NATA, and you can give the NATA exam. We can take you. But for all other programs apart from the BArch program, where we are not guided by the School of Architecture, we can take your admission even without maths. So there is no, any student is welcome to apply from us or to our programs, be it from science background, commerce background, arts background, with maths, without maths, not an issue. You clear our entrance examination and you can take an admission.
So,
Sir,
can you
So
also
what is
tell
the
us
syllabus of
about the
JSAT?
student
sir,
housing?
is there any sir, can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, is there any accommodation for students with dyslexia for BA LLB course in LSAT score?
With dyslexia, yes, we encourage the students to apply to us. We support you right throughout your study with us. We have a office of learning support that works with such students. And if there is any requirement for special accommodation or requirement for your living, we ensure that we help you out with that. So that is available.
Yes.
Sir?
But sir, is there any like some quota or something for LSAT score? Like maybe you might be having some 2% seats or something for in LSAT if you do that.
I'm afraid not. There is no quota. All our admissions are based on merit only. So there are no reservations. There is no quota, no NRI quota, nothing of that sort.
Okay, so thank you, sir.
So, can you tell us about student housing?
Sapna, is it you?
Yes, sir.
Sapna, you want to know about student housing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so we have a fully residential campus. I was showing you some pictures also of the university. Give me a second, if I can. So there is a 3 sharing room that we have for the university residences. Let me give you a flavor of our university campus just by showing you some photographs. Give me a second.
Excuse me, sir. When I was viewing the online campus, it showed that there were 4 people sharing a room.
Yeah, there are 3 to 4. Some rooms there are 3 and some 4. So it depends on the availability of the rooms. So this is our campus. This is the lush green campus that we have. This is one of our sample classrooms in the university. As you can see, the world-class infrastructure is available for our students. This is one of my favorite parts in the campus, the global reading room in our library. We celebrate, as I said, we are, I think, one of the leading universities in terms of internationalization efforts in the country, if not number one. So we celebrate the diversity through that room. This is again one of our libraries. This is our hostel room. As I said, it can be 3 sharing or 4 sharing, minimum 3 in a room. And if it's a bigger room and a bigger hostel block, there are even 4 students in a room. So this is the accommodation that is available to our students. This is another beautiful part of our campus. This is the main academic block where classes happen on campus. You can see a beautiful indoor garden here. This is another part of our campus. It's again the classrooms, the library that you can see in the background. The foreground, you see another of our classrooms available for students. Yes, thank you. Any other question?
So what is the average salary, so the placement salary, so that we get, sir, after the completion?
Piyush, which program are you looking for?
So for law.
For law, if I'm not wrong, I just gave you the number. It's on the website. Give me a second. Office of Career Services. Give me a second. Since we have so many programs, I have to be very specific. Give me 2 minutes. I'll just find out. Okay. So I suggest this is what you should do. I can't read the reports here. You see this? I hope you can see my screen. You just visit our website on jgu.edu.in/JGLS. You will find placement reports from last 3 years, 2017, 2018, 29. It will have all the details on what has been happening with our students, where are they going. You'll find more about career development section. You'll also find out our recruitment partners. So please visit our website. I think we have a fantastic placement cell that helps students to, and these are some of the companies that where students go to. All the details are available on our website. I don't have it by heart, but a lot of opportunities for students in India and abroad for after graduating from OP Jindal. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, tell me.
So what is the cutoff for SAT and ACT for liberal arts program, and what is the cutoff of NATA at JGU?
So for SAT, we do not accept any score which is older than last 2 years and which is lower than 1100. So 1100 is the minimum score that we need in your SAT. ACT, we do not accept any score lower than 26. Again, not older than 2 years. For NATA, I'm not sure because I don't handle that program. I will not be able to comment on that.
Huh?
Yeah.
So I'm doing arts for 11th and 12th, and I'm not studying math. So will that affect, like when I'm taking the JSATs, will that affect how I do because of?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's a valid question. A lot of students may be having that question in their mind. It's absolutely okay for you not to do maths in your grade 11 and 12. But you should not have a maths phobia, right? Because even if when you come, as Professor Arya was also saying, even if you come to our classroom and you will not have direct maths, but you will still have indirect maths right throughout your life. So that's one thing. So JSAT, the quant section, the math section checks your numeral literacy. We are not going to ask you algebra questions. We are not going to ask you integration, differentiation. We are not going to ask you higher level maths questions, but we need you to be comfortable with basic numeral literacy, which revolves around basic maths from grade 9 and grade 10. We do not expect you to have maths numeracy, math skills from grade 11 and 12. So you should be comfortable with maths. And we are not asking you to get, again, there are no sectional cutoffs in JSAT. So even if you do a bit lower in maths, you can make it up with your other sections in logical reasoning and English. I hope that
So what's the syllabus of JSAT?
JSAT syllabus, as I said, 120 questions from 3 sections. Syllabus is from your grade 9, grade 10, English, maths, and logical reasoning. Sample papers are again available on the JSAT website, which you can download and see for yourself the kind of questions that we ask. Those are easily accessible. If you don't get access to those sample papers, please drop me an email. I will be happy to share those sample papers with you.
So what are the elective subjects in liberal arts?
Elective subjects, we offer 10 majors, my friend, across economics, political science, psychology. We offer international relations, literary studies, which is literature, and then we have environment studies. So there is a lot of flexibility for liberal arts students to choose from. I will just share that link in the chat box, and you can have a detailed look on our program.
Okay, sir.
Any other question anybody has?
So
Sir,
once
I
we're
had a
admitted into the
question.
university, can we opt for a gap year?
You want a gap year?
After we're admitted into the university.
Yes, you can. If you have valid reasons for it, we can give you a gap year as well. Anybody
Yes,
else
sir.
has
So
any
I
question?
had a question. Is there a football ground in the university?
Absolutely, absolutely,
I
absolutely. I
saw
think
I
we
saw
have
basketball court and a
we have
tennis court.
I think we are one of the universities that has fabulous sports facilities, right from football ground to a cricket ground, which is I think cricket ground is one of the best cricket grounds that any universities can offer you, and one of the best infrastructure in terms of football ground as any university can offer you. The pitch that has been created for a cricket ground is the soil has been taken from one of the fastest stadiums in the country. Can anybody tell me which is the fastest pitch in our country? Cricket pitch. Which stadium in our country has the fastest cricket pitch? It's Dharamshala, not Mumbai. It's Dharamshala. Thank you. So Dharamshala is the stadium which has one of the fastest cricket pitches in our country, and we have brought in people from there to set up our pitch as well. The soil that has been brought in is from the same stadium in Dharamshala. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Any other question anybody has? We'll come to the
Just
certificates part very soon. So I
just
see that.
continue.
Yes. Tell me.
Yeah. Just continuing my previous question, I wanted to ask, let's say, for example, next year I'm admitted into the university, and because of the COVID situation, it continues to be online. And I opt for a gap year because I don't want to, attend university online. Is that a valid reason? Like, will it be considered?
Not in your first year. So if you have been offered admission, that offer remains valid only for 1 year. We do not defer your admission. But after you join the university and you think that I want to take a break between year 2 and year 3, that is possible, but not from the first year.
Okay, and how many seats do you have for the BAGA program?
BAGA is BA Honors in Global Affairs. We have 120 seats.
Okay, and how many electives can you choose per semester?
So the first 3 semesters are common, are basic foundation courses that you have to take. Fourth, fifth, and sixth semesters, every semester you can take about 3 to 4 electives. So that makes about 12 electives that you can take.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other question?
Yes, sir. Actually, I wanted to ask, if you want to apply for the BBA LLB program, so you just have to crack the entrance examination.
Absolutely. Only
Like
one
nothing
way
else.
to, yes, you have to clear your LSAT India exam, and that's it. There is no interview, just basics on your entrance.
And no CV or anything.
Nothing. Just LSAT India.
Sir, can you tell a little bit more about the new School of Psychology and Counseling?
Absolutely wonderful school that has been set up. There was a lot of demand for our psychology school to be set up. As you are, I don't know if you are aware, we offer psychology as a major in our liberal arts school as well for the last 7 years, and it's one of our most sought after major, where students want to explore more from different areas of knowledge and then specialize in psychology and probably go for masters. They used to come for a liberal arts program, but there was a demand from students that we are sure that we want to do psychology only and nothing else in life. So we launched a program called the school called Jindal School of Psychology and Counseling, which has some fantastic faculty members. We already have, the university has a legacy of past 11 years in the form of a research center, which is a trailblazer in psychology education, in higher education in the country, Jindal Institute of Behavior Sciences. And the distinguished scholar and the faculty member leading the school, Dr. Sanjeev P. Sahni, who is also advisor to the vice chancellor and one of our mentors in the university, is a leading authority on psychology, behavior sciences education in the country. He is himself involved in setting up this school very closely. We have the vice dean, Professor Derek, who is again a distinguished scholar, and we have many other faculty members who have been handpicked to teach students psychology at an undergraduate level, but at a postgraduate level, at a PhD level, the Jindal Institute of Behavioral Sciences has been doing a fantastic job, and it is going to be, mind you, one of its kind of school. I think leading schools and authorities on psychology education in our country. I think we have already filled up more than 80% of our seats for this year, and this is the first batch. So that gives you an idea of the quality of the program.
Sir, I have a
Sir, I
question.
have a
Sir, what is
question.
4 years dual degree program?
Yes, Arshad. So I'll take your question. 4-year dual degree program that is offered by our Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities, where we have a collaboration with two universities. One is Rollins College in the United States, which is a leading liberal arts college. Another is a Deakin University in Australia, which is again leading liberal arts college. If you opt for a dual degree program, you have to finish 2 years in Jindal and 2 years at a partner university, and you get double degree from both of us. So you get a degree from Jindal, which says graduated with BA Honors in Liberal Arts and Humanities from OP Jindal Global University, and the second degree from our partner institution saying a BA Honors in Liberal Arts and Humanities, probably from Rollins College in US. So students opting for this kind of program are looking at going abroad or settling abroad and having international exposure, in-depth exposure, because if you go to US, you become eligible for a couple of years to spend post your education in the US to have work experience there, and probably you start a route to immigration and your green card in that country. So that's the program.
Sir, I had a question. I wanted
Yeah.
to ask, what is the fee structure of bachelor's in architecture in OP General University?
PR, give me a second, my friend. I'll just find out. I think it should be here. Okay, Bachelor of Architecture. So the fee is 4 lakhs per annum for your PR program, and then that's a tuition fee, and then you have the residence fee, which is 2.6 lakhs per annum.
So what
Okay,
are the
sir, thank
career
you.
opportunities and placements with the liberal arts program?
Oh, there are many career opportunities and placements for liberal arts students. My students go and work. As I said, there are about 10 majors that you can choose from, right from economics to psychology to humanities to literary studies to international relations to history. So whichever field you choose to go into, you have careers for you that are open. Give me a second. I'll just show you one of very interesting slide that I think should be relevant for most of you. If I can get hold of that, give me a second. Liberal arts. So I think I'll just take a couple of minutes to talk about my liberal arts program. If you talk about liberal arts, one of the first things that you should know about with regards to careers in liberal arts is that we are the only liberal arts school in the country which has a compulsory aspect of 4 internships that every student has to do in our liberal arts program. So 4 internships, and those internships are organized by Office of Career Services, depending on your interest in whichever area you have. You remember I talked about the faculty mentorship program, where from day one we'll start talking to you and find out more whether you're interested in economics role, if you're interested in psychology, whether you're interested in international affairs, whether you're interested in any other aspect of our program. Once you have done your 4 internships in those 3 years, there is no opportunity that will leave you. But many of my students also go abroad, and that is what I want to tell you. You have a look at these students who have studied liberal arts with us, and these are my last year students and the year before that. You see students who have gone on to study, and many of them on scholarships, mind you, at fantastic institutions for higher education in different areas. So you see Srishti, who has gone to do MSc in management at Warwick University in UK. a Pavni that has gone to do an MA in economics at University of Sciences Po in Paris, or you will see a Nikita who has gone for MA in international relations at Queen's University in Belfast, or Harjot who has gone for MA in economics, and there are many. So Abhas has gone for hospitality, Harnoor has gone for water science policy, Kanika has gone for MA in Asian religion at Yale University. Akshay went for MSc in social and cultural psychology at London School of Economics. So these are fantastic career opportunities that open up for students from liberal arts background. Since you have a breadth as well as depth of education, a lot of fields open up for you. It's not that from year one you are tied down to only one field and you want to only go and explore that field. Right till your year 3 or last semester, there are opportunities that open up for you in various fields, be it higher education, be it careers, be it internships or projects. So I hope that answers your question. Anybody else has any question?
Does the university provides any kind of exposure, any kind of international exposure if we are going for BA/LLB?
Absolutely, absolutely. We said we spend, I think before pandemic struck us, every semester we used to send 200, 250 students abroad. I talked about our collaboration with Oxford, Harvard, Yale, our exclusive programs, our summer schools, our semester exchange programs, our double degree programs, and there is no reason why it will not resume once this pandemic is over. We are already trying our best to give you international exposure as much as we can in these trying times. But once things settle down, probably by next year, we should be able to send more students abroad. So that is a given. You are coming to Jindal, global is our middle name. So you will definitely have international exposure. Anybody has anybody else question? I have unmuted more of you. You can ask your questions if you want to.
So is there any scholarship program in place?
Yes, I talked about that in my slides. If your family income is below 30 lakhs, you are eligible for scholarships. Scholarships are offered on a merit come means basis. So depending on your merit, we offer you scholarships right from 10% to 100% tuition fee waivers.
So you were talking about some people you send to abroad. So what is the criteria for that? Like, is there any exam or something?
Yes, so you need to maintain a minimum CGPA. There should not be any backlogs. You have to get a recommendation letter from a senior faculty member of the school that you are studying in. And depending on there is also an interview aspect to it. So depending on those all criteria, the merit list is made and then students are sent abroad. So you have to keep your academics in check even once you are in the university. Any other question?
Sir, can you please tell that which subjects are important, like we should take up in 11th, 12th if we want to do LLB?
So again, I won't tell you what you need to study, but the test revolves around your basic maths, logical reasoning, English. Those are the 3 areas that the test you on. I request you to go online and give some mock test. Mock tests are available on the website of Discover Law, or even at the Khan Academy. You can give an LSAT India sample exam. You will find out on yourself what are the kind of skills that you are looking for. But you can come from any background and have those basic skills of maths, basic numeracy, English, and logical reasoning. So there is no set subjects that I will encourage you to study. Anybody else has any question?
So is there any sort of profile building to enter the university?
Yeah, profile building. I will not request you to do profile building for the sake of it, but definitely we encourage students to have interest outside of classroom also. It can be, and I would say you have to do 5 things outside of classroom. It can be even one thing, as Professor Arya was telling you in the morning. Your hobbies can be anything that you think are relevant to you in that context, and we will be able to evaluate on those. So I won't say you have to do a social work or a community work, which a lot of students come to us with, that I did such and such work. And if you ask them and probe them, why did you do that? They will tell us that we did it because it will look good on our profile. Please don't do that. We can see it across, but do something that is relevant to you, that gives you satisfaction, and do it for yourself, and then the karma will take it forward and it will reflect in your application as well. So encourage.
Sir, I had a doubt.
Yeah.
Sir, like a normal question, why shouldn't I go in IIT and come at JGU? Like any.
Well, Dhruv, you can definitely go to an IIT if you want to. I am not saying you should not go to an IIT. That is never our statement. What we are saying is that probably the kind of experience, the kind of education, and we do get students that have left a lot of good public institutions and have come and joined JGU because of these reasons. And those reasons are the quality of our faculty, the faculty student ratio, that means the access to those kind of faculty, our international collaborations, our global rankings, our reputation in the market that is available for the student. If you get into an IIT and you get into OP Jindal Global University, compare your career goals. Why do you want to go to a XYZ university and not this university is completely up to you. But what I am telling you is that OP Jindal will satisfy the requirement of any student who wants to pursue high quality education in this country. We are available and we should be as one of your options if you're looking for institutions of excellence to pursue your higher education. And then there are a lot of other factors that come into play, and that is a personal choice that cannot be commented on. But yeah, I think why my university, I last 6 days you have seen the answer yourself. I don't need to give you a sales pitch here. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else will love to have any other questions if anybody has?
Sir,
Yes, Archisa.
sir, I wanted to ask if your university has product design courses.
We do have not exclusively product design. We don't have any course in that, but we do have a course in fine arts, which has a course structure in the courses from product design and all. But we don't have an exclusive program in product design.
Okay, and sir, do you have placements? Like, what is
Yes, I already commented. You were not here. You just joined.
I think I missed it, sir.
Yeah, so we do have placements, and I spent about 10 minutes on that. We have an office of career services that supports students with full placement support, internships, projects, research work, whatever you want to do. We have that support. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. I think we'll close it here. I can see Gia has her hand up. Gia, you want to ask something? Gia, you can unmute yourself if you want to ask any question.
Sir, I have got a question.
I have a question that if I want to do
go ahead.
BA entrepreneurship and finance, then like I am interested in BA economics also.
Okay.
How can that be done? I mean, at this simultaneously, can it be happen? Can it happen like on the basis of interdisciplinary, or it would be
absolutely,
one course at
absolutely.
one point of time?
Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. The degree will remain either BA honors in economics or BA honors in finance and entrepreneurship, whichever you want to study. But then we have an interesting concept called cross electives. Now, cross electives is an opportunity for you to pick up electives from different schools in the university. So you want to pick up some courses from the School of Economics, you will have that opportunity built in the curriculum to take up those courses from the School of Government and Public Policy. And that's again one of the USP of the university and our interdisciplinary education, that you are free to choose courses from different areas of disciplines that we offer.
So this would be during the same time.
During the same time period, we have inbuilt in our curriculum. I encourage you to visit our website for School of Banking and Finance and see the curriculum for our BA honors in finance and entrepreneurship. You will see in that curriculum there are options for cross electives. I'm sure there will be 3 to 4 opportunities for you to do cross electives during your 3 years of BA in finance and entrepreneurship. Those cross electives can be offered by our School of Government and Public Policy and the economics program.
Sir,
Thanks.
is there an elective called as Harry Potter also?
Yeah, yes, there is. There are a lot of very interesting electives, and there is a whole booklet on the electives that are offered at Open Jindal Global University. You can drop me an email. I'll be happy to share that complete booklet of about 200 plus cross electives
So
and
please
electives
share
that are offered.
your Gmail ID.
I'll just write it in the chat box, not my Gmail, my official ID. You just drop me an email. I'll send you the complete booklet. Okay, I think we are through the questions. Anybody has any questions? We are last 4 minutes. I see questions such as why your university, sir, why your university, Shashwat. I've already answered this question multiple times. So why my university is because we are one of the leading institutions of social sciences, liberal arts education in the country. If you suits you, you do your own research, you find out your own career goals and understand whether this university, what we have to offer at OP Jindal, connects with what your requirement is of your career goal. So if you feel that we'll be able to satisfy your goals and we'll be able to help you bring closer to those goals, please select us. In terms of our rankings, in terms of our faculty members, in terms of our experience, I don't think there are many such kind of universities in our country. So do your own due diligence, and we'll be happy to have you with us. Okay, thank you so much, dear students. It's almost 1 o'clock and end of our 6-day summer engagement program. Thank you so much for being here with us. On behalf of my team, which is Mr. Shalender, Mr. Karan, Mr. Varun, and my Shubham from IT. It has been a wonderful experience. If my team can come on camera and say final goodbye to all the students, that will be great. The certificate part that all of you have been asking from is yes. So Shailendra ji is here. Shailendra deserves a round of applause for coordinating and being in touch with you right throughout the last 6 days and the days before that. It has been a fantastic experience for all of us. So Shailendra ji, congratulations for a wonderfully worked there. And I think there is somebody wants to play some games. I don't think I am in the mood for that. But we want to say thank you, Shalender, for taking time out. I say on behalf of students that Shalender, Varun, Karan, you have been fantastic and a fantastic experience. Certificates, all of you will get your certificates within next 1 week. We will tally your attendance, and Shalender or Varun will be sending across those certificates to you for sure. So you wait for another 5 to 6 days, you will have your certificates with you. So Friday next week is the deadline for us to send you all the certificate. It was an honor, but I hope you attended these 6 days not only for the certificate, but for the knowledge that was given in those 6 days. I had a fantastic experience of talking to and enjoying interacting with young minds, and I hope you would have also learned something. We again encourage you to fill up that feedback form. If you have not filled up that feedback form, please fill up that feedback form. It will help us in doing better for our next program and planning our next program in a better way. With all of us here, it's a goodbye. And Shailendra, Varun, Karan, if you have anything to share, please feel free to share with the students.
Thank you so much, Ankur, and thank you so much to all the students who have, participated in the JGU Summer Engagement Week for last 6 days. And we are sure you must have got a good, insightful learning from these sessions. So we look forward for more queries from your end. We wish you all the very best for your future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for this internship, for this opportunity to hear about your courses.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you, everyone. Bye. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir.
And this was a very educational week.
Karthik, you can end the session.
Yes, sir.
I'm saying you can end the session. आप session बंद कर सकते हैं.
Okay, sir. Okay. हेलो सर.
जी कार्तिक.
सर सेशन ओवर हो गया.
हाँ सेशन ओवर हो गया है. स्टूडेंट्स दिस सेशन इज ओवर नाउ. JGU समर एंगेजमेंट वीक हैज कंक्लूडेड and we wish you all the very best for your future. Right? Thank you so much for participating. So Karthik, session is over. We can end the session now.
Okay, sir.